The call. All right, Rob, on an unseasonably warm day, the temperature is set to climb into the 90s for this Big 12 matchup. Texas Tech and the number 10 team in the country, TCU, ready to take the field behind Gary Patterson. Welcome inside. Joe Davis, Joey Harrington, Chris Budden joins us in a moment. It was just 1 year ago that TCU went 4-8, and then Gary Patterson, a defensive-minded guy, goes out and hires Doug Meacham and Sonny Cumbie to turn around the offense, making a wide-open spread. Just 1 year later, here they are, number 10, with realistic aspirations at the playoff.
Well, yeah, and this TCU team's improvement mirrors the improvement of their quarterback. Trevone Boykin, in my opinion, is the most improved player in all of college football. He's played some tailback, he's played a little wide receiver, but for the first time in his career, he's a true quarterback. And his improvement, or his devotion to that position, is showing with his comfort in the pocket. He finally looks comfortable for the first time in his career. On the other side of the field, Texas Tech has a guy who should be comfortable in the pocket. Davis Webb is fourth in the country in touchdown passes. This guy can chuck it around, but he's also second in the country in interceptions. If Texas Tech is going to have a chance to win today, Davis Webb needs to control this football and not turn it over.
It's a nice regional rivalry here. Used to be called the West Texas Championship way back in the day. They no longer play for a title, but still a big one in Fort Worth. It's the Horned Frogs and the Red Raiders coming up on the other side of the break.
Under home field against fourth-ranked Baylor.
Good snap and placement. Kick is on the way, and he missed it. He missed it. And they have beat Oklahoma for a second straight time.
What a crazy month of October this has been in the Big 12. Who knows what today has in store for us? We know already Kansas State has rolled against Texas to stay perfect in the conference. One of the reasons TCU's been near the top of the conference all season has been because they've stayed relatively healthy. That has not been the case for Texas Tech as we check in with Chris Budd.
Yeah, Joe, it's a completely different story on the other sideline for Texas Tech. A slew of injuries, and we'll start first on offense. Leading receiver Jakeem Grant was injured in an off-the-field altercation. He also got pretty banged up in that Kansas game last week. He will play today. Now on defense, middle linebacker Sam McGuavin will not play today. In fact, he did not even make the trip. He's been dealing with a leg injury. However, some good news. Safety Keenan Ward, he missed last game with a concussion. He will play today. Coach Kingsbury told me. I watched him during warm-up. He was taking some hits, went full speed. So expect him to be out here today, which is good news for this Texas Tech defense because there's about a half a dozen guys on the injury list today.
Yeah, Chris, depth, the biggest concern for that defense of Coach Cliff Kingsbury as they face this no-huddle offense of TCU today. Head coach Gary Patterson in his 14th season as the head coach, 17th season overall at TCU. He's only 1-3 against Texas Tech in his career. And off we go from Fort Worth with a 57th meeting in a series that dates back to 1926. Jakeem Grant lets it sail over his head. Texas Tech will start at the 25-yard line. And Joey, give us three things we need to know.
Well, Joe, we mentioned at the top of the show, Davis Webb, he'll throw some touchdowns, but he'll also throw it to the other team. He's got to stop doing that if Tech wants to win today. Over the last couple weeks, Texas Tech has found a workhorse. DeAndre Washington has been the man out of the backfield for Texas Tech. And on defensive side of the ball for TCU, this is a team that leads the Big 12 in scoring defense, sacks, takeaway, just about every category you can think of. But they're doing it without a real superstar, and that is the key for Gary Patterson's defense.
They held Oklahoma State without a touchdown last week, 1 week after giving up 61 in the loss against Baylor. Webb starts with a throw to Dylan Cantrell, working against Ranthony Tejada, who was beaten repeatedly in that game against Baylor 2 weeks ago. This is Davis Webb, who you mentioned off at the top of the show, fourth in the country in touchdown passes, but also second most interceptions nationally. The sophomore with back-to-back throws to begin, back-to-back completions, and Jakeem Grant across the 40, stopped by Paul Dawson after a first down.
And Joe, I like the play calling for Texas Tech. Get Davis Webb into a rhythm to start the football game. Find an off corner, throw it to wide receiver. It's not a very tough concept.
One of the top 10 passing offenses in the country, just searching for some consistency. Webb sees blitz coming here on first down from the 43. Three straight pass plays to begin. Taking a shot from Marquez and incomplete, with three black shirts surrounding the senior from Odessa, Texas. Kindred and White were there. Chris Hackett as well, and it's 2nd and 10. It's pass defense for TCU, one of the best in the country, holding opponents to 47%. That's second best. On 2nd and 10. Off play action, Kenny Williams out of the backfield, into the secondary with speed, and a Texas Tech touchdown. First of the season for a guy that had moved the defense to begin the year, and what a start for the Red Raiders. Williams was a starting Raider, which is a safety linebacker hybrid to begin this season, despite being their leading rusher last year. They just recently moved back to offense full time. They put him to good use on this opening drive.
Hey, Joe, watch the play action from Texas Tech. Gets the linebackers for TCU to bite up right in the hole, and then they see Kenny right by him. Just drop it over the top and let him do the rest. If you get a guy like Kenny Williams the ball in open space, he'll make you pay.
And a 57-yard touchdown to cap this 4-play, 75-yard drive. Chris Hackett in the secondary beat through the middle of the field.
Well, Joe, Chris Hackett took a shot right there at the end of the play. Came in and got blindsided by a big block.
So Davis Webb with his 23rd touchdown pass of the season. First one to Williams, senior from Pflugerville, Texas. You mentioned the hit on Hackett, number 1. Devin Lauderdale throwing that block. So less than a minute into this game, Texas Tech trying to finish October with back-to-back wins to get to 500, still with hopes of a bowl bid. Already in the end zone, and Kramer Fife ready to send it away. E.J. Catalan deep for TCU. Took one back for a touchdown against Baylor a couple of weeks ago. And gets drilled shy of the 25. Stop made by Collie Woods. TCU gets ready to go for the first time with this new and improved offense. Give us 3 things we need to know.
Well, Joe, if you haven't seen TCU play yet this year, you're going to see an entirely new offense. Trevone Boykin, the most improved player in all of college football, getting the ball to guys like B.J. Catalan, and this guy, while he doesn't carry it often, he scores just about every time he touches the football. On the other side for Texas Tech, keep an eye on their safeties. Keenan Ward and J.J. Gaines. These guys are all over the field. Aggressive safeties from the deep position. They'll play pass coverage, but they're going to have to come up and make some big tackles in the open field today.
Horned Frogs start out of an empty set from the 23, and against a 4-man rush, Boykin well protected to take a shot for Listenby. And a pass interference coming against Keenan Ward. Listenby running by the defense. Ball goes through his hands, but they'll still get the penalty. Ward called for the pass interference.
Pass interference. Defense, number 15. It's a 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Texas Tech, the second most penalized team in America.
And Joe, Colby Listenby ran a 10-100 in the track season this last spring. Fastest guy in all of FBS. Just tried to run right by Keenan Ward. Nothing special about that one. TCU just taking a shot, letting them know we're going to go deep on you today.
Ward back after missing the Kansas game with a concussion. Got beat on that first play. Second play is downhill, and it's Aaron Green into the clear. And Green with a 62-yard touchdown run. Fireworks to begin in Fort Worth.
Joe, I think I blinked. Did I miss something? I mean, these two offenses can score at will, and I think it's interesting. Brandon Jackson, defensive end for Texas Tech, said we're playing with a lot of confidence. We want people to run the ball on us now. Well, you might want to stop this guy.
So 2 touchdowns in the first minute and 14 seconds of this game. It's actually the first time all season TCU hasn't gotten off to a 14-0 start. Right after Texas Tech strikes with a Kenny Williams touchdown reception from 54 yards. It's TCU on its second play from scrimmage, downhill with Green in a 7-7 game early on in Fort Worth. Fox College football is presented by Geico. Back here in Fort Worth in a 7-7 game, and our stats man Barry Allen, Joey, tells us that we're averaging 2 yards per second so far.
That's Barry, what the final score is projected to be at this rate.
Yeah, on pace for something ridiculous. With 2 high-powered offenses, both getting in the end zone in the first minute and 14 seconds. Oberkrom sends it away. And once again, deep into the end zone. Texas Tech will begin at the 25-yard line. Get your small business online before the end of the quarter. Joey, give us our GoDaddy keys to the game.
Well, Joe, we've hit it already a couple times. If you're Texas Tech, protect the football. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to score points with anybody in the country. We've seen it already, as long as you protect the ball. And for TCU, last 2 games, Oklahoma and Baylor. The next 2 games, West Virginia and Kansas State. This is a trap game. Don't get caught in the trap.
TCU beating Oklahoma on this field, then losing at Baylor, and then routing Oklahoma State, the number 15 team in the country last week, 42-9. They've already given up more touchdowns in this one than they gave up in that entire game. First run play for Texas Tech as DeAndre Washington weaving his way into the secondary. Washington makes a cut. It's another big play inside the 30. Kevin White runs him down after 48 yards and another Texas Tech first down.
You mean he didn't score a touchdown?
No, weird.
Wow. Well, what about DeAndre Washington? Seriously, this guy has come out of nowhere the last couple weeks. 2 weeks ago, goes for 132 against West Virginia. Last week, goes for 164 against Kansas. DeAndre Washington has become the workhorse for this Texas Tech offense.
Much more balance for this offense the last 2 games. 1 run, 1 pass on this drive. And across the middle, it's Devin Lauderdale. Dangerous with the ball in his hands. Inside the 15, another Texas Tech first down. We saw him 2 weeks ago against West Virginia. Came into the game with 2 catches, and in the first quarter had 2 touchdowns.
He's the kind of guy you got to get the ball into his hands, but the coaches told us this week he's having a hard time getting off of pressure. He's having a hard time creating for himself, so they're trying to find ways to create for him. Get him the ball in space.
Third play of this drive, and Texas Tech already knocking on the door once again. Washington again, hit in the backfield by White out of his corner spot, making a team-high 34th career start today. Gain of 1, second down and 9. They can get a first down without scoring. You mentioned the balance that they've gotten with Washington. He was averaging 12 carries per game over the first 5 weeks, more than doubled that over the last 2 weeks. Texas Tech seeing results from that renewed balance. Second and 9 from the 11. Play clock inside of 5. Against a 4-man rush, Webb throws it too tall for Marquez, and it's third down. Now, there have been times where TCU's given up some yards and teams have moved the ball into the red zone, but red zone defense, a tremendous focus for Gary Patterson's defense.
Well, yeah, we saw it last week against Oklahoma State. 3 times they got into the red zone, and 3 times they had to kick field goals. Allowed Oklahoma State 0 touchdowns during the ball game.
On 3rd and 9 against edge pressure, Webb throws into it. Marquez has it go off his fingertips, and it's 4th down. Well, Gary Patterson told us yesterday he knew what Texas Tech wanted to do when they got in this range, and that was throw the corner to Marquez.
Well, yeah, Coach Patterson is one of the smartest defensive coaches in all of college football. He knows your tendencies, he scouts them, and he prepares for them. TCU did a nice job of forcing Marquez out wider than he wanted to be. It was a tough throw, but it's a throw that Davis Webb knows he could have made.
Ryan Bustin, who has made 21 in a row from this range, attempts from 28. And Texas Tech with scores on each of its first 2 drives. So a 10-7 Texas Tech lead, and one of the nation's most improved players, Trevone Boykin, whose offense needed just 2 plays to find the end zone last time, comes out after this. Fox College Football is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Back in Fort Worth on a hot Saturday late in October with the temperature supposed to climb into the low 90s. It's 10-7 already. 17 points over the first 3+ minutes in this one. They go 75 yards in 4 plays and score on the Kenny Williams touchdown reception on the first drive, and then settle for a field goal on drive 2. And now TCU set to get the ball back. High kick. They try to keep it away from Catalan, so Cameron Eccles Looper sliding across the 30. And TCU will start this drive at the 33. It's the first time that TCU has trailed in the first quarter this season, and in fact the Horned Frogs have only trailed for a total of 2 minutes and 40 seconds all season coming into this game. So Boykin in this offense, which technically needed only 1 play because the first play was a penalty, needed just 1 play to score on an Aaron Green touchdown run from 62 yards on the first run. They bring Deontay Gray in motion and look to throw the screen away from him. It's Listenby getting pulled down by the freshman Nigel Bethel after 5 yards, 2nd and 5.
And Joe, there's an example of the maturation of Trevone Boykin. Last year, he would have just pulled the trigger. That time, he saw the defender in his way. He paused, waited for his wide receiver to get into the next window, and gave him the ball. Nice job in seeing what the defense is doing and just pausing for a moment.
2nd and 5. Off play action again. Here's Ty Slanina making a man miss and skirting down the sideline. He stayed in and got inside the 35. Now a late whistle comes back at the 47 in TCU territory. That whistle came late, but apparently Slanina did step out after getting a first down.
Joe, you're going to see a lot of this from TCU and Trevone Boykin today. A quick play action just to hold the linebackers, and then finding the open guy outside. It's not a deep throw down the field, just a nice little 6-yard route. Let's Ty Slanina do the rest. But what's happening is Trevone Boykin is reading coverages and getting the ball out of his hands better than he has at any point during his career.
Exclusively a quarterback for the first time in his career. You mentioned off at the top of the show, has spent time at running back and at receiver over his first couple of years at TCU.
First charge, timeout, TCU.
Horned Frogs use their first timeout in a shootout in the early going here in Texas. Mariota, Dak Prescott at Mississippi State. But a running back in Melvin Gordon at Wisconsin. Some of the players making strong cases for the Heisman. Who else is in the running, Joey, as we take a look at our Heisman Watch presented by Nissan?
Well, Joe, yeah, those 3 guys are going to be on everybody's ballot. How about Kevin White at West Virginia? Wide receiver has had 100 yards receiving in every single game this year and has scored a touchdown in every game but 1. Keep an eye on a guy, Tevin Coleman from Indiana, maybe David Cobb from Minnesota as the season goes on. How about Trevone Boykin?
Yeah.
Still a wide open Heisman race right now.
Just like it is wide open in the greater picture of college football as we get ready to have the first rankings from the committee released on Tuesday next week. Out of the timeout from the 47, it's downhill with Catalan. Plug in the hole was VJ Fehoko, Utah transfer, in his first and only season here at Texas Tech, and part of right now a very thin linebacking core. Again, Sam McGuavin, Chris told us prior to the game, didn't make the trip because of a leg injury, and so linebacker joins the front and the back end of this defense in being very thin.
Well, yeah, not just linebacker up front. Demetrius Alston out, very young in the secondary. This depth is an issue for Texas Tech right now.
One-on-one across the board for Boykin. Thrown underneath for Listenby, who was defended by Fehoko. And it's 3rd down. There's Mike Smith, the defensive coordinator for Texas Tech, who took over when Matt Wallerstadt resigned for personal reasons in mid-September. He said he's always wanted to be a coordinator, and he wants these kids to know what it feels like to play on a dominant defense. They've not been dominant, but improved over the last couple of weeks. Tech shows pressure on 3rd and long and brings it. Boykin running away from Robertson. Loads up and floats it. Doctson has it inside the 25. The Big 12 Player of the Week with a touchdown from 51. This is a fun one, partner. Play kept alive by Boykin against the blitz. And, of course, anytime you bring it, you're putting those guys on the back end on a bit of an island. If you're able to extend the play that long, chances are you're going to find somebody. The extra point from Oberkrom is good, and it's 14-10 TCU.
Joe, Trevone Boykin, one of the best in the country at extending the play. If you bring pressure, he could burn you just like that. Josh Doctson with the big touchdown catch for TCU.
Next College Football is sponsored by Nissan, innovation that excites. And by KFC, the world's best chicken. How do you, KFC? 14-10. Trevone Boykin and TCU in front of Texas Tech. And a wacky game over the first 5 minutes.
Wacky or just a typical Big 12 game?
That is true.
This conference can score with anybody in the country. We are looking at some fantastic offensive football today.
I hate to be that guy that talks about pace, but Barry Allen, again, our stats guy, tells us that right now we're on pace. And again, I'm not big into the pace thing. We're on pace for more than 3,000 yards.
In the season?
In this game.
Oh, in the game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's got to be a typo. No? Jakeem Grant, for the 3rd time in the first 5 minutes and 6 seconds of this game, goes back and takes a touchback. So they'll start at the 25. Joey, take us back to that touchdown.
Joe, when you commit to bringing pressure and leave nobody in the middle of the field like TCU does, you have to get to the quarterback, especially when you're playing against a guy like Trevone Boykin. Look, this guy is one of the best running quarterbacks in all the country. When he can extend the play, he can find receivers down the field when you don't have anybody back playing center field. If you're going to pressure Trevone Boykin, you must get home and tackle him.
So TCU in front for the first time, and Texas Tech back to work from the 25, having scored on both possessions so far. Webb fakes inside, looks down the sideline, has a man open, and it's caught by Grant across the field, using his speed to beat the defense inside the 20. This is a gain of 59 to start this drive.
Joe, Davis Webb did a fantastic job of pumping out to the quick screen. All these offenses use quick screens. Watch it here. Grant's going to give a little block and then slip right by. Pumps the defender, gets him to commit, and then runs the blocking receiver right by into the open zone. Great job of selling that by Davis Webb.
And Patrick Mahomes, a true freshman, comes into the game at quarterback and runs a draw. Gets tripped up across the 15 for 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Mahomes leaving, Webb coming back in, but here's the hit he took.
Yeah, watch Davis Webb stand in here and deliver this ball. Takes a hit and gets driven to the ground, but it's a nice job. When you pump fake, you're leaving yourself a little bit vulnerable in the pocket. Good presence of mind to sit in there and take the hit because he knew he had the guy open down the field.
And so it seems that that was a planned thing, bringing Mahomes in for a quarterback draw. Webb quickly back in, and on 2nd and 6, a draw play for Washington. And gets cut down by Tejada. Anthony Tejada, redshirt freshman from nearby Frisco, Texas, drops him for a loss, and it's 3rd down and 7.
Well, Joe, again, Texas Tech is in the red zone. TCU just stiffens up on defense. Last week against Oklahoma State, 3 times in the red zone, 3 field goals. The last time Tech was in the red zone, they kicked a field goal. It's going to be a huge component for today. Can TCU keep Tech out of the end zone?
Last time in this range, Webb threw a corner to Marquez, who's the inside receiver to the bottom side of your screen. Looks away from him this time and gets picked off. It's Tejada again with a flag down back where the ball was intercepted. Tejada brings it back across the 30, but let's see what this flag is for. On the defense, it will not only wipe away the interception, but it'll make it first down and goal.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, 11. Half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
And so there's a reason why that was such an easy pick.
Well, you know what? This bailed them out because Davis Webb and Devin Lauderdale were not on the same page. Look, Lauderdale stops his route. Davis Webb thinks he's going to break out. In the red zone, you must be perfect, and especially against a defense that's so good in the red zone like TCU, you have to take advantage of every opportunity.
Let's see if they take advantage of this one. Gift wrapped from the TCU defense. From the 6 on first and goal, Webb throwing to the end zone, and Cantrell pulls it in, but out of bounds, and it's second down. Against Tejada, they like Cantrell with his size at 6'3", 5 inches on Tejada, who's gotten beat several times in this redshirt freshman season.
Well, and if there's going to be a guy who's going to go up and make a high catch, it's going to be Cantrell for Texas Tech. Had a one-hander a couple weeks against Oklahoma State. Great catch against West Virginia. He's the guy to go up and make a play high in the air.
Washington makes a cut. And the top run defense in America over the last 15 years brings him down after 3 yards. It's third and goal from inside the 5.
Well, Joe, I said it a moment ago. You have to take advantage of every opportunity against this TCU defense. Right now, this is a huge play for Texas Tech. TCU has shown that they can score with you now. This isn't just a defensive football team. So if Tech is going to stay in this game, they have to score touchdowns.
1 for 2 in touchdowns. Trips into the red zone so far, although the first touchdown came from outside the red zone. Had to settle for a field goal on their last trip. Here they'll take a timeout. Their first of this half.
Timeout. Texas Tech.
And with this timeout, time for a Lowe's Never Stop Improving game break. We check in with Greg Wolf.
All right, we go to Stillwater, number 22, West Virginia, trying to spoil what's known as America's greatest homecoming celebration. Clint Trickett, 2 of his first 3 completions went for touchdowns. This one to Mario Alford's 79-yard touchdown. It's 14-0 Mountaineers first quarter. Joey, back to you.
All right, Greg, and how about those Mountaineers looking for a 4th consecutive win? They will host TCU next week.
How about Kevin White, wide receiver for West Virginia? This guy has come out of nowhere. He showed flashes last year, but this year, he is a dominant wide receiver in college football. And with a guy like that on the outside, a guy like Clint Trickett, who's now healthy, pulling the trigger, West Virginia is going to be a dangerous team as this season goes on.
Out of this timeout, a 3rd and goal for Texas Tech. Washington, the running back, next to Webb. Against a 4-man rush. It's leaking through. And too tall for Davis. In a collapsing pocket, got rid of it. There is a flag down back at the line of scrimmage. Came from one of the side judges.
Offside. Defense, number 25. He lined up in the neutral zone. Half the distance, 3rd down.
So still 3rd down, but Kevin White's penalty will give Texas Tech another shot.
Well, bailed out again. You can't give this Tech offense so many chances inside the red zone. I mean, this is a dangerous offense. Yes, they have turned the ball over, and yes, their record may not show it, but they are scoring points in bunches this year. You cannot give Texas Tech this many chances inside the red zone.
The second try at 3rd down and goal for Webb in Texas Tech. Washington stood up at the goal line, and it's 4th down and goal. Marcus Mallett and Josh Carraway combined. And now decision time for Cliff Kingsbury.
Joe, do not be surprised if you see the big package, the jumbo, the hippo package come in and Texas Tech go for it here on 4th down. This is the type of drive where you have to come out with 7 points. 3 points will not do on the road against the number 10 team in the country.
Rodney Hall, a fullback, into the game in front of Washington. And Webb from under center. It's play action. Rolling, looking, throwing incomplete. TCU's defense stands tall and takes over on downs. Too fancy?
Wow. You know, the teams that run this offense, Tech, Washington State, the Houstons, the Oregons, the knock has always been that they can't get into a big, heavy package and get that short yardage goal line, 1st down, touchdown. Well, you know what? There's a reason for that. They don't practice it. It's not their bread and butter. While it may look a little bit fancy, this is their bread and butter.
And so 2 penalties gave Texas Tech extra opportunities on that drive, but Gary Patterson's defense still able to slam the door. Now from the 1-yard line, Trevone Boykin and the offense back to work. Cadillac getting some breathing room. Out to the 4. Micah Awe making the start in place of the injured Sam McGuavin, made the tackle. 2nd down and 7.
And Joe, when you're playing out of your own end zone like this, there's 3 things you need to think of. Number 1, don't turn the ball over. Number 2, get to the 5-yard line so you give your punter room. And number 3, get a 1st down. Once you get through those 3 things, then you can move on to your offense.
Boykin has bigger plans. Taking a shot. Listenby has it in stride. Across midfield, beating the freshman Bethel for 50 yards.
Joe, I forgot to say number 4. Number 4 was throw the ball deep to the fastest guy in all of college football. Listenby again. We saw it the first play of the game. He runs a post right by the Tech secondary. This time, what a better place to take a shot. If you throw a pick, it's just like a punt.
Catalan hit in the backfield and dropped. Pete Robertson, leading tackler for this Tech defense. Also the Big 12's leader in sacks. Gets it done quietly, but an impressive player.
Yeah, Pete Robertson, the kind of guy who's not fantastic at anything, at one thing, but he does everything really well. A great tackler, a good pass rusher. I mean, he's the type of guy that you can put in multiple positions and he can still thrive.
2nd charge. Timeout. TCU. 30-second timeout.
Sonny Cumbie freaking out about something as TCU takes a timeout. We'll be back in 30 seconds. College football is presented by Geico. What a good one this has been so far. Back and forth we go. And the 57th meeting in a series that dates back to 1926. Texas Tech has actually won both meetings as members of the Big 12 since TCU joined the conference a couple of years ago. TCU trying to get its first win over the Red Raiders in Big 12 play and trying to stay square in the hunt for the Big 12 title and a playoff berth.
Joe, I'm still in shock. I mean, I never thought that I would see this type of explosion, this type of offensive explosion from a TCU program that is so grounded in defense. You know, that Gary Patterson's philosophy is play great defense, run the ball, little play action, you're going to win some ball games. But the fact that he went out, hired Sonny Cumbie, hired Meacham, says what a great coach Gary Patterson is.
Out of the timeout, throws a comeback to Doctson, who's already got a touchdown. 7 catches for 225 yards last week, was 1 short of the school record. Doug Meacham, part of this equation at offensive coordinator, with Sonny Cumbie. Gary Patterson brought in the offseason to overhaul what they do on the offensive side. Boykin gets it into the hands of Jawan Story. And Bethel was all over him. Got a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Cumbie is behind the glass there. Former Texas Tech quarterback. Put up 70 points against Gary Patterson's TCU squad 10 years ago. It's the most points ever allowed by a Gary Patterson defense.
Well, Sonny Cumbie is the type of guy that makes the best coach. He was a walk-on quarterback at TCU when he played, so he had to earn everything. Those type of guys know what it's like to have to work and therefore make great coaches.
That one's out in front of David Porter and incomplete. Boykin got rid of it just before he was hit by Pete Robertson, and it's 3rd and 7.
Joe, we've talked about the maturation, the improvement of Trevone Boykin. One of the biggest things is his ability to sit in the pocket, only run when it's necessary. He's been thought of as just an athlete playing quarterback. This year, he's doing a great job, has a nice pocket presence, and only runs when he needs to, sitting in there throwing the ball down the field.
On 3rd down, he's well protected, and it goes through the hands of his intended receiver, and it's 4th down. Jordan Moore, the seldom used wide out. They'll use plenty of them. Couldn't pull it in. Defense from Justice Nelson.
Well, Joe, a little high on the delivery, but a nice route, a nice read, and frankly, you got to make that catch. You got to make those tough catches to convert the 3rd downs over the middle of the field. Not quite routine, but a play you need to make.
So instead, Jaden Oberkrom, who set a Big 12 record against Texas Tech 2 years ago with 6 made field goals, attempts one from 45 and sneaks it through. So TCU with points on all 3 drives so far. The Horned Frogs with a touchdown advantage. Back to Fort Worth in 30 seconds. The Frogs trying to stay in the hunt for the Big 12 title and a playoff berth. Texas Tech, this rivalry game, giving them all they can handle. Red Raiders still with their sights set on a bowl berth. Trying to get back-to-back wins to finish the month of October 500. After a rotten start to this season, one of the worst seasons for Texas Tech in the early going in years. A loss today would give them their first 3-5 start since 1993, a season where they started 1-5 and then ripped off 5 wins in a row. Oberkrom with another good high kick, but Grant will have a chance to bring this one back from the 1 and gets leveled at the 16. My goodness, absolutely declated by Sammy Douglas.
Nothing special. Effort. Special teams is all about effort, and Sammy Douglas comes through and lays a hit on Jakeem Grant.
Let's check in with Chris Budden.
Well, Joe, Coach Patterson told us this week it's easier to coach after a loss than it is a win, so he was concerned with how his team would respond after that Oklahoma State win. He said he lit into him on Tuesday, was not very happy with how they practiced. He said he knows how a team to get wired, and he was out here letting his defense have it during that last possession.
All right, his defense tops in the Big 12 on the season, but struggling early in this one. Webb hits the crosser. It's Justin Stockton getting belted by Sam Carter. Got 2, 2nd down. Carter, a 5th-year senior, out of one of those 3 safety spots in this 4-2-5 defense.
Well, Joe, and I like the decision by Davis Webb there. You know, the knock on him this season is he's been turning the football over, and you turn the ball over by forcing it down the field. That time, Davis Webb sat in the pocket, didn't have anything, brought it down to his running back. Good decision.
Horned Frogs bring pressure. Webb off his back foot, gets intercepted. And Chris Hackett is back to the 15. His 3rd interception of the season. And that is exactly what Davis Webb in this offense cannot afford to do.
Well, Joe, TCU brought pressure, hoping to force the ball out of Davis Webb's hands. He recognized it. He threw the ball to his hot receiver. He just threw it a little bit high. He's got his crosser, Jakeem Grant, coming right there open, but delivers the ball high right into the lap of Chris Hackett.
So TCU takes over with great field position at the 16-yard line. On the first interception that will stand for the TCU defense, they had another that was wiped away by a holding penalty on the previous drive. So from the 16, Green motions out, and Boykin hands it downhill to Catalan, who's inside the 10 and tackled by Pete Robertson. Take a look at our KFC stat comparison. TCU is one of the best in the country at taking the ball away, and Texas Tech, one of the worst in the country at taking care of it.
Well, yeah, Texas Tech was bailed out down in the red zone a few minutes ago with a penalty. Otherwise, that could have been the second interception. Texas Tech has to hold on to this football today if they're going to score with TCU.
Boykin throwing for the corner. Doctson goes up and has it knocked away. Good defense, Justice Nelson, and it's 3rd down and 3.
Well, if you're going to go high to somebody, Doctson's going to be the guy, 6'4", 190 pounds, made a great catch last week against Oklahoma State, going high on his 2nd touchdown of the day, made it a catch over the top of the safety and took it 80 for a touchdown. Josh Doctson's the kind of guy you want in the red zone, a high ball catcher.
On 3rd down, speed option. Boykin fakes the pitch, makes the cut against the grain for a 1st down to the 5. Rika Levy makes the tackle. Boykin, a really talented runner.
Well, that's the difference between the true air raid offense, the old Mike Leach, Hal Mummy type of offense, and what TCU is running. TCU has incorporated some speed option into this offense, frankly, to take advantage of the flat-out athleticism of Trevone Boykin. He's one of the best pure athletes in all of college football, played some wideout, played some tailback, now playing great quarterback, but you have to use his ability to run.
Here's Catalan getting drilled. How about Micah Awe making his 2nd career start today in place of the injured Aguavin and making a noise right there.
Well, that's what you have to do if you're the Tech defense. With Sam Aguavin out, the middle of your defense is missing a key piece. Somebody needs to step in and fill this hole, and it was Micah Awe with a big hit. Ooh.
It's been part of the rotation all 3 years he's been on campus. Put on 10 pounds in the offseason and let B.J. Catalan feel it there. The junior leading rusher for this team walks off of the field under his own power. They're deep at running back. Catalan's gotten the bulk of the carries, but Green and Hicks and Johnson, all talented players as well. There's Awe playing not too far from his hometown of Arlington, Texas. Cliff Kingsbury knew he'd be important today, filling the shoes of the defensive captain Aguavin. 2nd down and goal, TCU. Javoris Johnson into the game at running back. They fake to him. Boykin sets his feet and throws the slant, and it's broken up. Justice Nelson doing good work against Josh Doctson on this drive.
And Joe, that was great defense by Texas Tech. TCU tried a little slip, tried to get Buck Jones, the tight end, in the back of the end zone, but Tech read it, covered it well. Trevone Boykin goes out to his secondary receiver, Josh Doctson. And again, just a nice play by the Texas Tech defense. Well read, well defended.
So 3rd down and goal, and Texas Tech trying to do the same thing the TCU defense did, and that is stand up inside its own 5. Boykin against pressure, retreating, trying to beat him around the corner, across his body, and caught. Touchdown, Doctson again. There is a flag down at the 3-yard line.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 10. That penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
So you heard Dan Romeo say that roughing the passer on Pete Robertson will be assessed on the kickoff, and Boykin once again creates.
Well, Joe, that's the 2nd time they brought pressure against Trevone Boykin, and that's the 2nd time he's broke contain and made a big play down the field. If you're going to bring pressure against Boykin, you must get to him. You must bring him down because he's too fast to allow to get on the edge like that.
Oberkrom adds the extra point. TCU takes advantage of the interception. 6 plays and 16 yards. Josh Doctson, his 2nd touchdown of the day. Back to Fort Worth in 30 seconds. Josh Doctson with his 2nd touchdown of the day. A guy that always dreamed of playing here at TCU. Started his career at Wyoming. Transferred in a couple of years ago and has really turned it on over the last 5 quarters. He has more than doubled his totals from the first 5 games of the season.
Well, yeah, I'll say 225 yards last week against Oklahoma State and a couple of long touchdowns going for 77 and 84. Today, adding to that touchdown total.
Once again, Jakeem Grant waits deep. They angle this kickoff away from him over the head of Stockton, who takes it at the goal line. Bad decision from the freshman. And he's down at the 4.
How about the kickoff? Ooh. It looks like he's hitting a wedge down there. Drops it right over the top on the 1 yard line. A little bit of backspin. It just stops. And like you said, Doctson makes a poor decision as opposed to letting that thing go into the end zone.
Although, man, I don't know.
Well, would that have gone in? Yeah, probably would have gone in.
But you can't fault him. We got a pretty good angle at it. He didn't have the beautiful Exmo shot at it. But now has his team backed into its own end. And Texas Tech, which had all the momentum in the early going, in a tough spot here. They go to Washington on first down for a couple of yards. Paul Dawson makes a stop.
Joe, we saw TCU take a shot when they were coming out of their own end zone. Don't be surprised to see Texas Tech do the same thing. You know, if you throw the ball 40, 50 yards down the field, and it does happen to get intercepted, it's just like a punt. No harm, no foul, and maybe you get a chance to get a big play and swing some momentum the other direction.
Well, they've had big plays so far. A play of at least 48 yards on each of their first 3 drives. Here's Cantrell at the sticks, breaks a tackle for a first down, and then cut down by Chris Hackett. There is a flag down back in the end zone.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 90. Blow to the head. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Goes on Terrell Lathan. We saw B.J. Catalon get popped on the previous drive and left the game. Chris Budden, what do you have on him?
Well, TCU training staff doing some concussion testing on him, looking at his neck and his elbow, but they've also taken his helmet away from him, so I would not expect him to go in anytime soon. As soon as I get more information, I'll let you guys know.
Thank you, Chris. So they continue to take a look at Catalon as that penalty moves the ball out to the 32. And out of an empty set, Webb with time to throw. Grant fell, and it's incomplete. Grant fell coming out of his break, working against Jeff Hooker. 2nd and 10. Here's that previous play, the roughing the passer.
Yeah, Terrell Lathan, Coach Patterson told us one of the guys that has some huge potential. He's been playing really well. Gets in there and gives Davis Webb a shot to the face. Doesn't look like much, but by rule, it's a penalty.
Trying to set up a screen, and it's blown out. Davion Pearson, who's in the middle of that, taking DeAndre Washington to the ground. 3rd and 10.
Joe, it's funny looking at the crowd here. Everybody's standing, throwing their hand to the ground. It should be grounding. That's a smart play by Davis Webb. His running back was... Whoa! They were trying to set up a screen there, Texas Tech, and the running back got tackled. Davis Webb is allowed to throw the ball into the ground at the feet of his running back.
The officials may not have been able to see the running back because he got gobbled up by Pearson.
There you go. He's picking it up.
As he should.
There is no foul. After further discussion, number 31 was deemed to be in the area of the pass.
He meant 21. DeAndre Washington was indeed there.
Yeah, and while watch him right here. He's going to get tackled on the screen, and while the crowd is upset, this is the right call. The quarterback is allowed to throw the ball into the dirt when his screen player is tackled. Right there.
4 receivers into the near side on 3rd and 10, and Webb getting happy feet and then firing into a tight window for Marquez, and a first down to the 44.
Joe, we said it at the start of the game. Bradley Marquez is the guy that I'm looking for if I need a big 3rd down conversion. He's the guy who makes the tough catch over the middle of the field. Well done by Marquez.
Down the sideline, they've got an open man. It's Lauderdale setting a tackle and walking in for a touchdown from 56. They faked the screen to Jakeem Grant, and then Lauderdale was open down the sideline for his 3rd score.
Joe, we saw a similar play from Texas Tech earlier in the game. They faked the bubble outside, slipped Jakeem Grant up the seam. This time he faked it to Jakeem Grant right here. The DB comes up, and Lauderdale slips right by. When you run so many bubble screens, so many quick screens, you're going to get a defense keying on it. Give a good pump fake, run a guy by. Great execution by Texas Tech and Davis Webb.
Remember, this drive started back at the 5-yard line with Stockton's special teams play where he fielded the ball at the goal line. They go 95 yards in 6 plays. And in true Texas Tech style, it lasts only a minute 17. Lauderdale's 3rd score of the season makes it a 1-touchdown game. And we're back here to Fort Worth in 30 seconds. Devin Lauderdale, 3rd touchdown of the season. The sophomore out of Houston has done it all in big play fashion. And Davis Webb moving into 9th in Texas Tech history in passing yards, passing TCU offensive coordinator Sonny Cumbie, who really only had 1 season as a starter. Those numbers are ridiculous.
That's what I was going to say. He did that. He had 5,000 yards in just about 1 season, and that says what kind of quarterback Sonny Cumbie was.
Had a few good ones at Texas Tech over the years. Deontay Gray replacing B.J. Catalon deep on this one. Gray, good speed across the 30 with a flag down. Came flying in from midfield. TCU's had some penalty issues early in this game. We're
During
still in the
return,
first quarter.
Holding. Receiving team, number 6. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Well, tonight, pivotal game for the World Series in San Fran. It'll be Jason Vargas taking the mound for the Royals, who now have won 6 games in a row away from home. Ryan Vogelsong scheduled to get the ball for the Giants. Coverage beginning at 7:30 Eastern right here on Fox, and as always, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Last night's game, the 15th 1-run game of the postseason. It's more than half the games have been decided by 1 run. For tonight, 7:30. Giants trying to get their 3rd World Series championship in the last 5 years. Royals trying to do it for the first time since '85. Still 37 seconds remaining in this opening quarter. And Texas Tech, some confusion getting lined up. They run the jet sweep to Deontay Gray and using his speed to get a seam for close to a first down. B.J. Fehoko made the tackle. They spot him about a yard shy. It'll be 2nd and 1.
Well, Joe, Sonny Cumbie told us yesterday that Deontay Gray, he's our Jakeem Grant. He's our guy that we have to get the ball to in as many different ways as possible. One of those players that's just electric in the open field, good play call, good design to get the ball to the explosive player.
And Joey, about an hour and 5 minutes later, we're through the quarter.
Oh yeah.
First
quarter, yeah.
We'll take it, though. What a fun game. 24-17, the number 10 team in the country with the advantage over the rival Texas Tech. It's number 10 TCU and Texas Tech out of the 2nd quarter in Fort Worth. Is presented by Geico as we welcome you back to Fort Worth for the 2nd quarter of a game that saw more than 500 first quarter yards. I know we probably thought we'd see some offense in this one, but 500 yards in the first quarter?
I could say typical Big 12 football, but even this isn't typical.
Start this quarter with a 2nd down and 1 for Trevone Boykin and the TCU offense, the nation's most improved offense. And the draw. Here comes Green and a long touchdown on TCU's first play from scrimmage. He's got a first down to the 32. So how about these combined numbers over the first 15 minutes? More than 500 yards on 44 plays. 41 points, the bottom line, with a 24-17 TCU advantage. From the pistol into the short side, it's Green again, making a cut into the secondary. And the Nebraska transfer up to the 40. On a gain of 27. This is a guy stepping into the spotlight right now with Catalon out with an injury.
Wow, what a great job up front. Number 64, Matt Pryor, getting a great block out there, springing Aaron Green to the edge, and then he makes a nice cut to get outside. You mentioned it, the Nebraska transfer, getting a little bit of playing time last year, taking an advantage of his opportunity today.
Coming into the game, averaging more than 7 yards a carry. He's upped that today. This time he runs into the arms of Pete Robertson, who can't hold on, but Jackson Richards helps him out. 2nd down and 9. Green comes out, and a good sign for TCU. B.J. Catalon, who took that huge hit from Micah Awe during the first quarter and left the game, is back in. So went through all the proper testing, and he passed those tests back into the game early on in the second quarter. Play action on first down. Off his back foot, it's Catalan with a couple of blockers in front. Spins away from one, but can't get away from Keelan McElrath. Got a couple of yards. Third down. Some pushing and shoving after the play, but no flags.
Well, Joe, I was impressed by the Texas Tech defense there. TCU set up a screen very nicely, had a lot of open space for Catalan in front, and TCU rallied to the ball. A nice open field tackle, a nice job setting up what's a key third down here.
Horned Frogs averaging 15 yards per third down play, and they've scored 2 of their 3 touchdowns on third down. Six-man rush. A shot downfield. Listenby has it knocked away. Nigel Bethel was there step for step and speed against speed on that play.
Well, and again, Texas Tech brought pressure against Trevone Boykin. This time they kept him in the pocket. Boykin took a shot down the field, and Bethel just made a nice play. Just a good individual play breaking up this pass. I think we've seen what Mike Smith's game plan is going to be against Trevone Boykin. Keep everything in front on first and second down. Third down, the money down, he's bringing pressure.
First punt for TCU. Ethan Perry. It's a fake. Doctson has it knocked away, but a flag comes out. Justice Nelson draws the flag that should keep this drive alive.
And Joe, in real time, I don't know that I agree with this call.
Yeah.
This one might have been too close to call, especially on such a key down. You know, a lot of quarterbacks will throw that high ball on purpose. I don't think TCU did that one on purpose.
Critical call.
Pass interference.
Boy.
Defense, number 31. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Let's take another look.
Joe, we mentioned Josh Dotson's ability to go up after the ball at 6'4". On an underthrown ball here, a little wobbly duck.
No way.
I don't know. I don't agree with that call, Joe. We're watching it in slow motion, and so obviously the hand gets in there a moment before, but in real time, that was a bang-bang play. That should not have been called.
Fresh set of downs. How does TCU take advantage? Off play action. Boykin sets his feet on the post. It's Gray. It's a TCU touchdown. Promptly taking advantage of the fresh opportunity. And what a swing right there.
Wow. And what patience, what delivery from Trevone Boykin, sitting in the pocket, waiting for his receiver to come open down the field. Last year, Trevone Boykin would have been out on the edge running. This year, he's sitting there waiting to deliver a strike down the field. Great job of delivering the ball right where it had to be.
Loves Gray on that post route. And hit him for a touchdown. One play after the pass interference on the fake punt. And the former cornerback, Deontay Gray, beating the coverage for a TCU touchdown and a 2-touchdown advantage. Deontay Gray on the receiving end of the 3rd touchdown pass of the game from Trevone Boykin. TCU back in front by 2 touchdowns, taking advantage of a drive-extending penalty on a fake punt. Justice Nelson was the one that got called for the penalty. Jakeem Grant back for this kick from Jaden Oberkrom. Oberkrom's had a good day sending these ones deep. And Texas Tech will start at the 25-yard line. Let's bring in Mike Pereira, our rules expert back in Los Angeles. Mike, you had a look at that critical 4th down penalty on the fake punt. What'd you think?
Well, it's a tough penalty, and I don't think it's defensive pass interference, but if it's the one, it's a face mask. I mean, and that's what you really have. Watch him go up and really time it well, but he's going to grab the mask and turn the head here, and you can actually see it from both angles. I thought that's what they called originally, but not pass interference, but it really is a face mask.
Well, excuse me, Mike, it doesn't really matter about the face mask because they called pass interference, correct?
Yeah, right. So you got it right for the wrong reason. That's what I always said.
All right, Mike, we appreciate it. Webb, under pressure, got rid of it to Kenny Williams, who took it 50 yards for a touchdown the first time that he touched it today. Sam Carter pushes him out after a first down. So really the result was correct. You know, I mean, we got to where we probably should have been just for the wrong reason.
I'm not sure
you don't buy that?
I still don't buy it.
Don't think it was a face mask then.
Well, but you didn't call a face mask.
I hear you. Webb stands in and zings one incomplete. Intended for Grant. He was covered by Marcus Mallett. Second down. Davis Webb, top 10 in yards and touchdowns in Texas Tech history. Only a sophomore out of Prosper, Texas. On second down, Washington making a nice cut in the hole and dancing his way for a first down across midfield. Sam Carter makes the tackle on a guy that is really coming on for this Red Raider offense.
Well, how about the move that Washington made in the hole? Watch this. He's going to make Sam Carter miss right in the hole. Excuse me, makes Paul Dawson miss right in the hole. Whew. DeAndre Washington has been a workhorse for Texas Tech the last couple of weeks, and it's nice to see the balance coming back to this offense.
Here's Justin Stockton getting a block from Washington, then getting hemmed in. Derek Kindred was waiting for him. Hurled it his way for a few. And it'll be second down. Kind of interesting to look at this new balance in Washington busting out of the scene with the two big games. What came first, chicken or the egg? Was it Washington running well? Was it a renewed focus on balance?
I think a little bit of both, but if I'm going to pick one, I think it's Washington running the ball well. I mean, you're not going to have the confidence to give him the ball 25 times a game unless he's running the ball well, and Washington has shown that he can carry it over the last couple weeks.
And you saw the difference in the run-pass ratio over the last couple of games as a result of his improved running. On 2nd and 7, a flag comes in. And a false start.
False start. Offense, number 6. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
It's Devin Lauderdale who's moving out at receiver. So second down and 12 now. Lauderdale's got a touchdown today. They faked the screen and zipped it to him down the sideline. Webb under pressure, stepped into it and threw incomplete for DJ Polite-Bray, who was covered by Kevin White. Shows some toughness to stand into a collapsing pocket. 3rd and 12. Only a 4-man rush, so Webb with time. Over the middle, it's Marquez, and it seems like any time Texas Tech needs a big completion, the senior's there to provide it.
Yes, this guy is a leader. He's a captain. He's the guy I'm looking for on 3rd down. He makes the tough catches. He runs great routes. He shows all the young receivers how to do it. Bradley Marquez, in my opinion, is the MVP of this Texas Tech football team. Great catch, key conversion on a 3rd down.
But he hurt his ribs last week against Kansas and comes up breathing heavy after that completion, crashed into the ground. They fake the sweep to Grant through the screen, back to Lauderdale, who's got a block and a spin inside the 30. Tackled by Chris Hackett on a nice first down play call for close to a first down.
And Joe, I love Chris Hackett. I love the way he plays the safety position. He has great instincts. He's one of those guys that is just an athlete. You can put back there. He reads the quarterback's eyes. He knows where the play is going to go. He's a smart player and then made a great tackle in open space. I love the way he plays safety.
Gave him enough to move the chains there. First down and 10 from the 27. Webb making a change at the line. Horned Frogs bring pressure. They run into it and pay for it. Jonathan Anderson converted safety, now playing middle linebacker, makes his first tackle for a loss of a couple of yards. 2nd and 12. TCU defense tops in the Big 12, holding opponents to 21 points per contest. Texas Tech already was 17 midway through this 2nd quarter. 2nd and long, a boot. Webb scanning the field and throwing out in front of Ian Sadler, who is chased by Marcus Mallett, and it's 3rd down.
And Joe, Davis Webb was a little bit late getting that ball out in the flat. He had him right away. If he gets his head around and dumps out in the flat. Instead, he took his eyes down the field, looked to his deep receiver, looked to his crosser, and then came back to the flat, and by then it was too late.
You saw Bradley Marquez back on the field for this 3rd and 12 play. Webb has looked his way on several 3rd downs. He's open again, and Webb finds him, but he's short of the 1st down. Derek Kindred with a sure tackle, and it's 4th down and about 3 at the 21.
And Joe, Derek Kindred has come up limping here, makes a nice tackle on Bradley Marquez coming across the field, and then limps his way to the sideline.
So the junior safety leaves for TCU. So does the Texas Tech offense. The field goal team comes out. Ryan Bustin to attempt a 38-yarder. 1 for 1 today. And 2 for 2. So Bustin has made both field goals, and TCU cuts into this lead. Now down 11. TCU and Texas Tech in a good one in Fort Worth. College football is sponsored by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Both these offenses have mobilized today for combined 51 points over the first quarter plus in Fort Worth on a hot day with the temperature around 90. Joe Davis, Joey Harrington, Chris Budden, Kramer Fife ready to send it away for Texas Tech to B.J. Catalan, who's back in to return it after Deontay Gray was back there on the previous kick return. Catalan will take a knee. Let's find out what's going on with the #1 team in the country as we check in with Greg Wolf for a game break.
Yeah, Joe, let's go to Lexington. Mississippi State playing their first game in program history as the #1 team in the country. And here's Heisman candidate Dak Prescott. His 9th rushing touchdown this season. That's the most in the FBS for a quarterback. Bulldogs lead Kentucky 17-10 in the 2nd. Joey, back to you.
All right, Greg. Kentucky has dropped 15 games in a row against top 25 competition, but Coach Stoops has that thing turning around in Lexington, trying to hang with #1. You think they're for real, Mississippi State?
I do.
Yeah.
I do think they're for real. I think there's 4 great teams in the SEC, but I also think there's probably 5 or 6 teams that are very below average this year.
TCU from the 25. Starts with a run. Aaron Green into the arms of Jackson Richards. 2 yards, 2nd down and 8. Horned Frogs, #5 offense in the country, and they've scored on all 5 drives so far today. Most improved offense in the country. More than 190 more yards than they averaged last year. And 20 points per game better than that 4-8 season last season.
Oh, that's coming from #2.
There's Boykin. Firing one into a window in the zone for Listenby, and a TCU 1st down.
Joe, that throw right there, while it may seem routine, is not a play that Trevone Boykin would have made last year. He's sitting in the pocket, he's waiting for his wide receivers to find the windows, and he's delivering the ball decisively. In the past, because he played tailback, he played wide receiver, he never had time to focus on being a quarterback. Now that he's learned the intricacies of playing in this offense, has a great coach like Sonny Cumbie who's done it before, he's really thriving in this system.
Hand it off to Trevorris Johnson, the redshirt freshman. Can't even get back to the line of scrimmage. Keenan Ward, one of these safeties that you really like, gets involved in the run game there.
Yeah, Texas Tech needs these guys, these safeties, Keenan Ward and J.J. Gaines, to play big today. As we've seen, TCU is going to throw the ball all over the field, so they're going to be in coverage. But when they do run the ball, and especially when Trevone Boykin runs the ball, they're going to have to come up and make tackles in open space. A couple weeks ago, Keenan Ward had 16 tackles against West Virginia.
2nd and 12. 9 men standing for Texas Tech. They bring 5 of them. And on the speed out, it's Aaron Green. Micah Awe was right there to push him out. 3rd down, 7 or 8 coming for TCU.
And Joe, again, while it may seem like a quick routine play, Trevone Boykin recognized the blitz, found his quick receiver, and delivered the football.
Sidearm to Green, who's got room against Justice Nelson, puts the shoulder down and just barely gets a 1st down. Green has had a nice day in combination with B.J. Catalan at that tailback spot.
You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That time we've seen the play run a couple of times. You pump the quick screen, the DBs come up, and then you throw the ball. We saw a deep ball to Doctson.
Defense. That penalty is declined. Results of play, 1st down.
And we saw a deep ball to Lauderdale. Both teams have used that play. That time TCU pumps it out there. The defense just retreats, and I'm not getting fooled again. So what does Boykin do? He gives the ball to the open guy. Great recognition on a play that wasn't necessarily drawn up to go that way.
Your TCU declining that substitution penalty on Texas Tech. 1st down from the 48. Green into the short side. A wall of blockers escorting him into Texas Tech territory. Aaron Green, junior from San Antonio, who started his career at Nebraska. Now in his 2nd season of action at TCU. Having one of his better games today. He comes out. Kyle Hicks comes in, part of this running back rotation for 2nd and 6. And it's Hicks off the left side. Really stayed on his feet to explode into the secondary. Instead, 4 yards and a 3rd and short.
Well, yeah, and had he stayed on his feet, he'd still be running. Hicks had all sorts of running room right up the middle of that defense as Tech decided to bring pressure off the edge.
This Texas Tech defense has not stopped TCU yet. Number 5 offense in the country against the Big 12's last ranked defense. Having its way. On 3rd and 2. Downhill at 6. Hurdling his way for close to a 1st down.
And Joe, again, Texas Tech's Mike Smith's defensive philosophy. Keep it in front of you on 1st and 2nd down. That time 3rd and short, they bring pressure again. Trevone Boykin is doing a really nice job of managing when he's getting off coverage and managing when he's getting pressure and getting the ball to the right person at the right time.
I said Texas Tech hasn't stopped TCU. Remember, they did force the fake punt. There was a penalty called pass interference on the fake punt pass.
I'm putting that under protest.
Yeah, good luck with that. He fakes the pitch, throws the screen back to Hicks. Spins away from Fehoko. But then Keenan Ward from his safety spot makes sure he gets no more than 2. Texas Tech defense is last in the Big 12, giving up 37 points a game. But they've simplified things under Mike Smith, who took over the defensive coordinator duties midway through September when Matt Wallerstedt stepped away for personal reasons. Those numbers slowly but surely have improved. 2nd down, 8. Boykin under pressure and sacked. They get to him for the first time with Sam Atoy, a junior from Windsor, California, getting his 1st sack.
Well, Joe, and if you keep coming after him and keep coming after him like Mike Smith has shown he's going to do, you're going to get to Trevone Boykin eventually. And you mentioned it a minute ago, the improvement of this Texas Tech defense. Look, 2 weeks ago against West Virginia, they played great football for 3.5 quarters. They just got worn down at the end of that ball game. Last week against Kansas, they played great defense for 4 quarters. They just need to put a full ball game together and get a little bit of rhythm.
Flag flies in. Likely a false start on the left tackle. It's for Boulanger.
Offense. Number 59. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Shadow moving back 5 more. Tayo Fabulaje, who started his time in college at BYU, then transferred to TCU. Started all 12 games 2 years ago. Went back to BYU for a year. And now back at TCU for a 2nd stint. 3rd down and 22. And Texas Tech's defense trying to get off of the field. Boykin with a deep drop against a 3-man rush. Extends the play with his feet. Heaves one to the end zone. Doctson is out there, but it's over his head. And fourth down coming up. Tevin Madison running with Doctson down the sideline.
And while it may not seem like a huge play right now, to get TCU off the field, give the ball back to your offense with a chance to cut this to a one-score game, that could end up being a very big stop for the Texas Tech defense.
This game has a little bit of a feel that Cal-Oregon game did with Tim Brando and Joel Klatt last night on Fox Sports 1. A lot of points in that one, a lot of points in this one. TCU looks like using a timeout.
TCU.
And we'll take the timeout with them. Texas Tech set to get the ball back down 2 scores late in the first half. Fox College Football is presented by Geico. Right after we went to break there, they announced that Gary Patterson was challenging the number of men on the field for Texas Tech. He thought they maybe had 12 on that last play.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Unless there's someone I'm not seeing.
Somebody hiding? And
After
here's our
further
verdict.
review, the ruling on the field that there was only 11 defensive players on the field during that play stands.
You think that comes from upstairs? Somebody thought that they had seen
TCU
12? Or is that
be
Gary
charged.
Patterson thinking he sees something on
Their
the
last
field?
and final team timeout. TCU has no more challenges for the game.
He must have felt good about it because that's his challenge.
Boy, and that's a bit of a flyer to use your challenge on.
So Ethan Perry, who has been out there to punt once today, but threw a pass on a fake. They got a pass interference call to keep that drive alive. So the junior from Spring Branch, Texas, will punt, you would figure, for the first time. Pressure, almost blocked, and instead a flag comes out. Kenny Williams got a piece of Ethan Perry. Is it going to be a roughing or running into the kicker? If it's roughing, this drive is extended.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker. Defense, number 34. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And a snapshot of why Texas Tech is 3 and 4.
Well, it's going to be the plant leg that's the determining factor. Boy.
5th penalty on Tech, 64 yards. So they've reached their threshold where Cliff Kingsbury will have them doing extra sprints or some extra lifts. He's tried everything that he can think of to try and eliminate these penalty problems, but 1 week after they limited the penalties to 4 penalties for 22 yards, those totals ramped back up again. So for the second time today, Texas Tech's defense forces the punt, but then has to go right back on the field because of a penalty on special teams. Fake to Catalan, throwing it up for Doctson. Nelson has played a good first half in coverage.
Well, and Joe, for all the good things that Trevone Boykin has done today, that wasn't a very good decision.
Yeah.
You know, they have run that play where you get a guy out in the bubble, a guy in the flat to try and draw the defender up and hit the receiver beyond him, but the DB didn't bite. Trevone Boykin getting a little bit too aggressive, a little too excited. Last time he hit a big touchdown the immediate play after the penalty. This time tried to do the same thing, just take what the defense is giving you.
Empty set on second down. They bring pressure. Boykin can't get away from it. Second time on this possession they've been able to get home. Fehoko and the conference leader in sacks, Pete Robertson, combined. Third down.
Well, what they did a good job of that time, Joe, was keeping contained. Watch how Trevone Boykin never gets outside of the widest Texas Tech defender and allows Robertson, like you said, the leading sacker in the Big 12, to get in there and get another one.
So once again, 3rd and long. And once again, an empty set for Boykin. This time 7 in coverage. Twist is picked up, so Boykin with time to take a shot. Listenby can't get there. 4th down. He had beaten Keenan Ward, but too far out in front of Listenby. 4th and 12.
And Joe, that's the 3rd time today we've seen TCU just try and run by the safeties for Texas Tech. First play of the game, got a penalty. Second time they ran it, they hit a big one. That time Trevone Boykin just missed the outstretched arms of his wide receiver.
So for the third time in this first half, TCU sends the punt team out. Texas Tech trying to actually get the ball off of a punt for the first time out of those 3 tries. A cautious rush and then a fair catch from Bustin, who fumbles it but was contacted and gets it back anyways. It would have been a kick-catch interference regardless. He was bumped after signaling the fair catch.
And for some reason, that play didn't surprise me today, Joe.
At this rate, today, heck, this season.
Interference with the opportunity to make the catch. Kicking team, number 50. Hang on, 50. 15 yard,
no, you had it right
yard
first
penalty
time.
from the spot of the foul. First down.
And so they'll tack on those 15 yards. Special teams littered with penalties today. Bustin gets contacted. But the long snapper, James Power, you never want to have your name said on TV if you're long snapper because it means you did something wrong. Fox College football is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. By Burger King. For a limited time, get 10 chicken nuggets for just $1.49. And by Goodyear. Tires chosen by experts for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Back in Fort Worth, big drive coming here for Texas Tech. TCU will get the ball to begin the second half.
Well, yeah, Texas Tech needs to score here before halftime. If they're going to stay in this scoring fest with TCU, they need to take advantage of the opportunity that their defense created.
Fake the run, get it outside to Grant, who is going to have room, but Webb short-armed it. Davis Webb, a guy that is a true freshman last year, battled with Baker Mayfield for snaps, played in 10 games, started 6, threw for 2,700 yards. The undisputed starter this year with Mayfield transferring to Oklahoma. Washington motions out on second down. It's put on the ground and recovered by TCU. Chucky Hunter pounces on it. The 3-year starter was all over the fumbled snap, and disaster before halftime for the Red Raiders.
And Joe, I'm sure of it. I'm sure Davis Webb just took his eyes up right before he got the ball, trying to check out the coverage just an instant too soon. You cannot afford to make that mistake deep in your own territory on the road against the number 10 team in the country after your defense has just given you the ball back to try and cut this to a one-score game.
Second week in a row with 2 turnovers. Davis Webb, an interception and a fumble each week. And both turnovers have come in Texas Tech's own end. Can TCU make them pay like they did the first time? 3 running backs in on first down from the 24. Boykin will give it to Catalan with a big hole. B.J. Catalan with a flag flying in. Gets tackled by J.J. Gaines after a gain of 9.
Holding. Offense. Number 65. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Grady Foltz, right guard.
10-yard penalty.
J.J. Gaines leaving the field. They're already thin at safety.
They're thin at every position.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot afford to lose a player on defense if you're Texas Tech. Aguavin's out. Demetrius Alston is out. Now if J.J. Gaines is out, you're short a guy at every level on this defense.
Depth an issue, and when you turn the ball over, that defense is out there way more than they should be. A couple of turnovers early on in drives for Texas Tech, forcing that defense back out there. First down and long, option into the short side. Boykin cutting it back, making 2-man miss, and finally dropped by Andre Ross. It's an exciting gain of 1.
Wow. And for as much as the Texas Tech defense has been out on the field, credit them for stretching out that option play. They played it perfectly. When you run the option, you leave one guy unblocked and force him to make a decision. Then you give it to the eye who's uncovered. That time, Texas Tech just stretched it out. Nobody ever committed. Nobody ever made a decision and forced Trevone Boykin just to keep it and keep it and keep it. Eventually, the cavalry comes.
The defense has already been out there for 40 plays. Here's number 41. It's a 2nd and 18 from the 33. Tech showing pressure and bringing it. Can Boykin beat it? Back shoulder Doctson, but nowhere close. And credit the pressure for the errant throw.
Again, On a critical down, Mike Smith brings pressure and leaves his corners out there on an island. He's going to do it until Trevone Boykin shows that he can consistently find the open or the hot receiver, as you call him, against pressure and get it to him to defeat that pressure.
He's done it a couple of times by scrambling and extending the play, but if he's throwing hot, he's not been on target. 3rd down and 18. Only a 3-man rush, so 8 in coverage. Scrambling again, getting away from Jackson, and dropped shy of the 25. Trying to move him into field goal range. Awe and Fehoko combined on that tackle as we move inside of a minute in this first half. The field goal team comes out. Jaden Oberkrom set to attempt one.
And Joe, I'm surprised. I was going to say surprised Texas Tech hasn't called a timeout yet, as they do right now.
Timeout. Texas Tech.
With thoughts on getting the ball back.
Well, yeah, you had the ball, or the clock, excuse me, at about 1 minute and 5 seconds with the opportunity to call a timeout. And when you're trying to get points before halftime, trying to stay in this ball game, 12 seconds could be the difference between getting into field goal range or not.
Well, with this timeout, let's check into LA with Rob Stone.
Coming up on the AT&T halftime, we stay in the Big 12 with number 22 West Virginia at Okie State and see how K-State remained atop the conference. Plus, number 1 Mississippi State on the road, and a look ahead to our Pac-12 battle later tonight on Fox Sports 1 between USC and Utah.
Okay, Rob. It'll be Rob, it'll be Joel, it'll be Coach Wanstead. Joel called the game up in Santa Clara last night. Hurried his way back down to LA to be part of the studio show today. Inside of a minute in this wacky first half, 31-20, TCU in front. The last time these two teams met here in Fort Worth 2 years ago, it was 56-53 in 3 overtimes. The Texas Tech victory.
I thought we were going to get there before halftime when this game started.
Oberkrom is 1 for 1 today. Junior from Arlington, Texas. Has made 46 field goals in his career. This one from 43. Out of the hold of Zach Allen. Curls it in. Good from 43. And good for a 2-touchdown lead. 48 seconds remaining in this first half. Back here in 30 seconds. Full weekend of college football continuing tonight with a pivotal Pac-12 battle. Number 20 USC heads to Utah. Always a tough place to play, and right now Utah's tough no matter where they are. Number 19 in the country. Coverage begins at 10 Eastern right here. We're over on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. It should be a good one off the Pac-12.
Well, everybody talks about the Stanford defense. What about Utah this year?
Nate Orchard, the nation's leader in sacks on that unit. Here's a kick angled into the corner that Grant picks up. And Jakeem Grant with some room and with some speed. Tackled from behind, crossing the 35. And Texas Tech with 1 timeout and 40 seconds will try and cut into this deficit.
Well, Joe, I don't want to harp on this, but you're 12 seconds short. Now you're at the 40-yard line. Minus 12 seconds that you lost by not calling that timeout sooner. This is a prime opportunity to get points before halftime. And look, you've turned the ball over twice if you're Tech. You've essentially turned the ball over twice when TCU has tried to punt and you gave it right back to them. Yet you're facing the opportunity to only be down 1 score if you get a touchdown here before halftime. I think Tech has done a great job in this first half.
Number 10 TCU with a 14-point advantage. From the 38, see what Tech can do with these 40 seconds. Webb hits Marquez, who will get out of bounds. Pushed out by Sam Carter. Stopping the clock with 34 seconds. 34 seconds from the AT&T halftime. Solid first half for Marquez, who was questionable earlier in the week with a rib injury. Webb under pressure. Fumbles again. It's loose and picked up by Caraway momentarily. And then he swallows it up at the 30. The 3rd Davis Webb turnover of this first half, and Cliff Kingsbury can't believe it. Neither can you, Joey.
Wow. You know what I'm most impressed, though? I'm most impressed with the fact that it's somebody new for TCU every time. 4 players on this defense with 3 or more sacks. 4 different players with more than 35 tackles. There's no true superstar on this TCU defense. Just a bunch of great players who are playing well together and consequently are doing a wonderful job as a unit.
Texas Tech has not won the turnover battle in its last 15 games. They've been even each of the last 2 weeks after losing the turnover battle in 13 games in a row. Losing it in a big way right here. Boykin trying to make it hurt. On first down from the 30. A deep drop to let the routes develop. Doctson fading away from Nelson, who's once again up to the task.
And Joe, we mentioned it earlier, with a guy like Doctson, you just throw it up. Not an extremely accurate ball by Trevone Boykin that time, but he gave Josh Doctson the chance to go up and make a catch. Nice job of recovering and breaking that ball up.
Nelson playing a heck of a game. 6'2" sophomore from Mesquite, Texas. His first season as a starter. Second down. Pressure's picked up. Boykin going back to Doctson, who's beaten Nelson this time. Incomplete. Ball was underthrown because it was thrown late. Third down.
Hey, but you know what? Just as Nelson again makes a great play in the end zone, Josh Doctson still has a chance to make it.
Charge. Now, Texas Tech. 30-second timeout.
He's got Justice Nelson beat by 2 or 3 yards. Trevone Boykin gives him a chance to go up and make a high catch. But Nelson again on back-to-back plays, making a fantastic play to break things up in the end zone.
He played 5 games last year after his red shirt was removed late in the season out of necessity. He's been a full-time starter this year. Mike Smith's defense not at fault. Not totally at fault, at least. 3 turnovers from Texas Tech. Now 20 consecutive games with the turnover, the most since early on in this decade when Mike Smith was a player for the Red Raiders. With 10 seconds remaining, his defense trying to once again dodge a bullet. The offense threw out there.
Well, yeah, and if you can hold TCU to a field goal right now, I think that is a huge win for Texas Tech. And while going in down 17 may not seem like it, that could be a big point of momentum.
On third down, only 3 rush, so Boykin will have time to toss one out of bounds. The fourth down, 4 seconds. From here, it'd be a 47-yarder. TCU will have the ball to begin the second half. Oberkrom hit a field goal on the last drive, looking for his 3rd of this half. This would be the longest. He's the 3rd most accurate kicker in Big 12 history from more than 40 yards. This one from 47. Oberkrom, perfect. So TCU takes advantage of another Davis Webb turnover. Back-to-back turnovers to finish the half. And a 17-point Horned Frog lead after 30 minutes. Right now, we send it to Rob Stone in Los Angeles.
Joey,
I was born without this fear. Now only this seems clear. I need to move, I need to fight, I need to lose myself tonight.
Fox College football is presented by Geico. Back here in Fort Worth and ready for the second half of action in this Big 12 rivalry between TCU and Texas Tech. We welcome you back inside. Joe Davis, Joey Harrington. Texas Tech a 3-touchdown underdog, and they're down 3 scores in this game. But it's not been because of a lack of offense. It's been because they continue to shoot themselves in the foot.
Well, yeah. You figure you're giving up 37 points to TCU, but frankly, I'd say the number of times the Texas Tech offense and special teams have put the defense in a bad position, that's a pretty good thing right now. The interception by Davis Webb leads to the touchdown pass to Josh Doctson, and then special teams. Twice today, we've seen TCU line up to punt the ball, and Texas Tech not get the ball back. The next time, they go down the field, take a strike, hit Gray for a touchdown. You cannot continue to shoot yourself in the foot if you're Texas Tech when you're on the road playing the number 10 team in the country.
Here's our first half stats brought to you by Geico. Texas Tech averaged nearly 9 yards per play during that first half. But with the 3 turnovers, and then remember they were shut down on a 4th and goal from the 1-yard line. They find themselves down 17 and having to kick it off to TCU to begin the second half. Joe Davis, Joey Harrington, Chris Budden here in Fort Worth for the 57th meeting between these teams in a series that goes back to the mid-1920s. Tech has won both meetings as members of the Big 12. TCU needs this one to stay alive in the Big 12 title chase and in the hunt for a playoff berth. Off we go with half number 2. Here's hoping it's half as fun as the first half was. Catalan hesitates and brings it out and gets stood up shy of the 20-yard line. Chris Budden talked to both coaches a moment ago. Chris, what'd you learn?
Hey, Joe, we'll start first with TCU. Gary Patterson says the key to this second half is defensively they have to limit the big plays. To do that, though, they have to play quicker on defense. He says that's when we get burned, when Tech goes to that up-tempo offense. Offensively, he's pleased with his team, but says when they get into the red zone, they have to score. No more field goals. When you're playing a back-and-forth game like this, you can't rely on your field goals. As for Texas Tech, Kingsbury telling me it's the same message he's given his team all season. Limit the penalties and the turnovers. Without that, this is a different ball game. So that's the pass. I just told my team, keep fighting.
All right, Chris, here we go with the second half with a Catalan run. Keenan Ward plugs the hole from his safety spot for 5 yards. And second down coming up. TCU more than 300 yards in the first half. Pretty good balance. Close to 200 came through the air. At more than 120 on the ground. Coverage downfield is good, so Boykin tucks it. And for the first time today, runs for a big gain across the 40.
Joe, and that's the key. The key difference between Trevone Boykin last year and Trevone Boykin this year. Last year, when his first read wasn't open, he was looking to run the ball. This year, he's keeping his eyes down the field. He's going through his progression. He's giving his receivers a chance to make catches. And then when it's not there, then he's using his legs to run and get a first down just like that.
Playing exclusively quarterback for the first time. A guy with a background at receiver and running back during his time here. Catalan has room off the left side for a solid gain of 4. And it'll be second down and 6. That first quarter was just wacky. Texas Tech, though, in the second quarter, that offense disappeared largely because they kept turning the ball over.
Well, yeah, if you don't have the ball in your hands, then you can't move it. I mean, 2 turnovers, essentially turnovers on punts, and then a couple fumbles by Davis Webb. That's going to hurt you.
Another run for Catalan. Into the backfield, spins away, and then goes down back at the 42. He lost 6. That was Jenkins making the stop. Malik Jenkins, backup outside linebacker, 3rd and 12.
Well, Joe, I've said it before. I said it in the first half. I'm increasingly impressed by the resiliency of this Texas Tech defense. Numerous times today, they've found themselves with their back up against the wall, and they've just continued to play hard. I mean, giving up 37 points right now really seems like quite a few, considering what they could have done with all the mistakes they've made on offense and special teams.
Tech has to use the timeout here. They had 12 men on the field, and luckily for them, realized it.
Texas Tech.
It'll be 3rd and 12, TCU, when we come back. Fox College Football is sponsored by Dr. Pepper. Here's to a one-of-a-kind season. Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind. By GoDaddy, get a website and get more business. It's go time. And by New York Life Insurance Company. Back in Fort Worth. Ready for this 3rd down and 12 play on TCU's opening drive of the second half. Boykin against a 3-man rush. Has all kinds of time to load up for Gray on a post. Ward comes over, but can't break it up. Gray brings it in against double coverage for a first down.
Wow, Joe. Keenan Ward had every opportunity to make a play on this ball, and it goes right through his hands. What concentration by Deontay Gray to go up and make a great catch in traffic.
43 yards, fresh set of downs at the 17. They pressure and blow up the play. Gets rid of it off of the hands of Gray. The defense came flying in there when it's second down and 10. Let's go back to that catch from Deontay Gray on a huge 3rd down play.
Joe, check out the concentration. This ball goes right through the hands of Keenan Ward. And in between two guys, Deontay Gray makes a drive-saving catch right there. TCU had really struggled with only 22 yards on their last 3 possessions. That's a big spark for them to start this second half.
And it's the difference between these teams right now. TCU taking advantage when they've got a shot. Texas Tech not. Big time pressure. Boykin got rid of it. Listenby got his hands under it. First down and goal at the 6 on a tremendous catch from Colby Listenby.
Well, Joe, again, we saw on a key down Mike Smith bringing pressure against Trevone Boykin, and up to this point he has not been able to find his hot receiver, the receiver who is left vacant because of the pressure. That time finds Listenby, throws the ball on his back shoulder. Nice catch by Listenby to move the chains.
I may take a look at this. Did it bounce? Yep.
Review.
Joe, strike what I just said.
Yeah. Everything
except for the catch. Yeah.
So they will review it. It looks like it will be overturned. Pete Robertson got through, forced Boykin to throw high.
And Joe, we've seen it all afternoon. Mike Smith is bringing pressure and forcing Trevone Boykin to make quick decisions. Early in the ball game, Boykin broke contain and made some big plays throwing the ball down the field. Over the last quarter and a half, that pressure has gotten in and contained Trevone Boykin and forced him to make good decisions from the pocket.
So assuming that it does get overturned, which we have every reason to believe it will, it'll be a 3rd down and long, or 3rd down on long from outside the 15. 3rd down and 10. If they do indeed overturn this call, and yet another big 3rd down for the Texas Tech defense, trying to hold TCU to another field goal. This opening drive of the second half. Kingsbury's team trying to get back-to-back wins. They snapped an 8-game Big 12 losing streak with a win against Kansas last week. And he and this team still have their sights set on a bowl game. It would be the 14th bowl trip in the last 15 seasons for TCU. But they'll need to beat one of the big dogs, whether that be TCU or Oklahoma or Baylor, and then take care of business against Texas and at Iowa State in order to get to those 6 wins.
Well, I don't want to be a naysayer, but if they keep turning the football over like this, it's going to be very difficult. I mean,
here's our call.
After further review, the rolling is an incompleted forward pass. It will be 3rd down and 10 at the 17-yard line. Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 12:49.
So 3rd and 10, and yeah, you said it, Joe. I mean, what we're seeing today is exactly what this team has been for 2 months.
Well, yeah, they can score points with anybody. We said at the very start of the game, Texas Tech can score the football, but the mistakes that they make allow their opponent to frankly get too far ahead to catch.
Webb has turned it over 3 times today, 1 interception, 2 fumbles. The defense has been on the field a ton, more than 50 plays already for a group that is not deep. Empty set on 3rd down. Tech showing pressure again, as they have often on 3rd down. And they're bringing it. Boykin underneath. Listenby's got it, but shy of the first down. Tevin Madison with a tackle. 4th and 4.
And Joe, how about Tech's defense? Give them some credit here. The last 4 drives now, well, let me pause. I'm assuming that TCU is going to kick a field goal. But the 3 previous drives, a punt and 2 field goals, and that came after 2 fumbles by Davis Webb, in which TCU really could have capitalized, gained a ton of momentum. While being down 3 scores is never ideal, the way that Texas Tech's defense has responded to this situation has been fantastic.
Oberkrom hit 6 field goals and tied a Big 12 record against Texas Tech 2 years ago. This would be his 4th. Out of the hold of Zach Allen. And he's got it from 28. But it's a field goal, just what Gary Patterson said his team can't continue to settle for. Texas Tech trying to upset TCU, which tries to move to 6-1 in the hunt for the Big 12 title and a playoff spot. Fox College Football is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the first ever MKC. Early on, second half, Fort Worth, Texas. TCU taking advantage of 3 Texas Tech turnovers today. They've got a 40-20 lead after a field goal on the opening possession of half number 2. Gary Patterson making that move in the offseason to the wide open spread. And his team has already scored more points than it did all of last season.
Yeah, we've talked about what a great job Tech's defense has done at the end of the half and then to start this one. Let's give TCU credit. They are doing a wonderful job transforming what was a very average offense last year to one of the nation's most potent this year.
This kick drops, and it is recovered by TCU. One of the up men signaled for a fair catch and then let it drop. And Justin Stockton behind him saw him signal the fair catch, so didn't try and get in his way to catch it.
It just doesn't surprise me today. I mean, the way this ball game has gone, I think I've seen everything. Just a heads-up play by the TCU special teams. Again, another mistake by Texas Tech. The type of mistake that you cannot make. I mean, these are very basic things. You catch a kickoff. You don't rough the punter. You don't hit him after he kicks the ball. These are things that are very basic day one kind of things that Tech is making mistakes at.
Tyler Skelzy let that one drop, and then Sammy Douglas recovered it. Catalan with 4 on first down. Let's check in with Chris Budden.
TCU wide receiver Deontay Gray was on the table getting some cramps worked out in his calf. They were feeding him some liquids. This heat was something these teams were worried about.
On second down, Chris, Boykin will throw it out of bounds. Yeah, the heat climbed up near 90 today. It's part of the reason why you also see so many people leaving this game early, which is, even with the heat, a little bit surprising when you're the number 10 team in the country, playing in a rivalry game. 3rd and 6 for TCU. They bring pressure again. Boykin on the slant to Doctson. It's 1st and goal. And Doctson injured. Grabbed that right leg after the tackle from Justice Nelson.
Joe, not what you want if you're a TCU fan here. Josh Doctson has been your most explosive wide receiver up to this point. Just gets his ankle rolled on as he falls down. But let's go back to why he has the ball in his hands to begin with. Texas Tech brought pressure, as they've done all day on 3rd down, and Trevone Boykin recognized it and got the ball to the right guy at the right time.
Doctson helped off of the field after his 4th catch. 76 yards today, a pair of touchdowns. 4 touchdowns in his last 2 games and more than 300 yards during that stretch. Well, 1st down and goal for TCU. They fake the green and throw to the end zone for a touchdown with Cliff Murphy. His first career catch, and the first catch by a TCU tight end this season is a touchdown.
And Joe, what a perfect pass from Trevone Boykin off the play action. Watch him coming right here. Play action, sucks up the linebackers, and then he delivers a high ball right into the end zone. Cliff Murphy, 6'4", 288 pounds. That's a big target right there. Great execution by Trevone Boykin.
Senior out of Little Elm, Texas, catches Boykin's 4th touchdown throw of the game. Now 18 touchdowns to only 3 picks for Boykin. And yet another Texas Tech mistake capitalized on by TCU, and Boykin, who wants his name to remain in that Heisman discussion. Almost perfect today. Well, top 4 teams in the AP poll entering the week: Mississippi State, Florida State, Ole Miss, and then Alabama. But how about our experts? Who do they pick as the top 4 teams in the nation right now? Here is our Burger King top 4.
Well, yeah, the only difference between the Fox 4 and the AP poll is our group had Oregon in that 4th spot, recognizing that they're a different team with Jake Fisher back in the lineup with a more solid offensive line. They're playing like the team that we expected them to be at the start of the season. But that doesn't mean that Alabama, Auburn, even TCU here can't work their way back into the mix. Remember, Alabama has big games against Mississippi State and, of course, the game against Auburn. TCU has a gauntlet of a schedule to finish up. Games against West Virginia and Kansas State. A lot of college football left to be played.
We talked about it off at the top. TCU is to make it into the playoff. They'll certainly have earned it going through this schedule. Here's Jakeem Grant from his own 5. It's stopped at the 15. Time now for a Lowe's Never Stop Improving game break. Here's Greg Wolf.
All right, we go to Boulder, number 25. UCLA led 17-0 early. It would go to overtime. Second OT after a Colorado field goal. Brett Hundley to win it. UCLA much tougher than expected on the road, but they get the win 40-37. Joey, back to you.
Well, Greg, takes 2 overtimes for UCLA to beat Colorado.
Not impressive, Joe.
No.
While UCLA is staying alive, they're definitely not the dominant team that a lot of people thought could go out and win the Pac-12 conference.
From the 16, Davis Webb in Texas Tech back on offense. Webb with a first down throw, back shoulder. Reginald Davis has it for a first down and a gain of 14. His first catch of the day. A sophomore that the staff thinks might have the chance to eventually be the best of this wide receiving group.
Well, that's saying something with guys like Bradley Marquez and Jakeem Grant in the mix.
They whistled this one dead. So they went to Washington.
Prior to the snap,
the flag down.
The previous play is under further review.
And so they'll take a look to see if Davis got his feet in. Got a foot in. Looks pretty good from there.
Well, the question is,
was that left foot on the line?
Left foot on the line?
Yeah.
It looks like he maintained possession of the ball.
Davis, a guy that's already topped his totals from last year, trying to add to it. Mike Pereira with us, our rules expert back in Los Angeles. What do you see here, Mike?
Well, I'll tell you what, very, very, very close. That left toe, is it on the ground and is it inbounds, which I think it is. And then Joey made the good point going to the ground. He maintains possession of the ball when he hits the ground. I really think this has to stay as a catch.
Yeah, the key here being the fact that it was called a catch on the field. Have to have that indisputable video evidence to overturn it.
And Joe, even if for some reason this call is overturned, give Reginald Davis credit for stopping his route, adjusting, and coming back to catch the football.
The rolling on the field is confirmed. Completed catch.
Well, Joe, a lot of teams now are starting to throw. It's called a back shoulder fade, where instead of just running up the field, the quarterback purposefully throws the ball behind the receiver, knowing that it's going to come there. He stops, has an advantage over the defender, essentially puts his body in between the defender and the ball. Nice job adjusting his route and making a completion.
So first down from the 30. Webb has been pretty darn good through the air today, but has turned it over 3 times, 1 pick, 2 fumbles. On the slant, that one pops out of the hands of Davis. Kevin White in coverage, and some pushing and shoving following the play. Surprised the flag hasn't come out. I think some of the offensive linemen for Tech took exception to some of the hits from TCU on their quarterback, Davis Webb.
Oh, and Joe, I've seen Davion Pearson there, the defensive lineman for TCU, in the face of the Tech offensive lineman most of the afternoon. Those guys get overlooked a lot of the time, but there's been some good fighting going down in the trenches today.
Horned Frogs bring only 4. Webb into coverage, but out of bounds. Marquez covered well by Sam Carter. 3rd down and 10. And you hate to see that. Josh Doctson, who left the field after that last catch on the slant on the previous drive, needing support to take steps. False start on the left guard, Alfredo Morales, will make this a more difficult 3rd down.
False start. Offense, number 56. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Penalties and turnovers, the story for much of the year for Texas Tech. Turnovers have certainly been a part of it. Penalties have as well. Not that they have a huge total, but they've come at just horrible times. 6 penalties overall today, more than 60 yards. Another flag down. Underneath, Jakeem Grant drops it. We'll see if this is a free play, though.
Offside. Defense, number 90, into neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So they get another shot at 3rd and 10.
And Joe, you mentioned turnovers and penalties today. It's also been the special teams. I mean, it's stuff that are very basic, day one type of things that Texas Tech has been making mistakes on today. Mistakes in the kicking game that have really come back to haunt them. Those are mistakes that you absolutely can't make.
Low snap picked up. Under pressure, got rid of it, incomplete. Well, with a 4-man rush, Webb was having to get rid of that one before he was ready to, and the punt team comes out, and Webb needs help getting up.
Joe, you're going to see the pressure here coming off both edges from Josh Caraway and Mike Tuaua getting in there, providing the pressure on Davis Webb. And Joe, he's still down on the ground, which is not a good thing to see if you're a Tech fan.
Yeah, that left leg awkward on his way to the ground under Mike Tuaua. So the training staff takes a look at the sophomore quarterback Davis Webb, and we will take a break. Davis Webb tackled onto that left leg and was helped off of the field. And getting continued care over on that sideline. You hate to see that if you're Texas Tech. Back up is a true freshman, Patrick Mahomes, talented kid, but at this stage of his career, not Davis Webb. Line drive punt on the first punt of the day. Taylor Samake taken by Cameron Eccles-Looper with a flag flying in. Eccles-Looper hurtling across the 35, but again a flag down back inside the 20. So TCU will be backed into its own end to start this drive.
During the return of the punt, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, numbers 18. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
Well, this game got off to such a wild start with a crazy first quarter. Seemed like every time we were looking, there were big plays. Texas Tech struck on the 4th play of the game with Kenny Williams on a long touchdown reception. Then Aaron Green on the first play for TCU responded. Texas Tech, more turnover problems. 3 of them with several other that you could kind of characterize as turnovers. Trevone Boykin has taken advantage. 4 touchdowns for the junior quarterback who is trying to thrust himself into the Heisman discussion as we move into the back end, or at least the back half of this college football season. There is Patrick Mahomes, who has seen some time this year with Webb getting hurt against Oklahoma State. How about a flea flicker to start this drive? Listenby running behind Ward. And Ward stuck with him. It's 2nd down. Well, Gary Patterson playing for style points right now.
Wow. That's a, let's call it a gutsy call, running a flea flicker up 27 here in the 3rd quarter.
Gutsy, is that the word for it?
It's something.
But listen, he even acknowledged it this week. That win against Oklahoma State, because it was 42-9, people said, whoa, TCU. You know, and in a day and age where it's going to be an eye test.
I think that running this schedule and winning the games in the Big 12 is going to be enough for TCU to get into that 4 at the end of the season.
Gray sends a tackle. Another makes a move. Watch the speed. And look at him go for a 91-yard touchdown.
Joe, TCU doesn't need flea flickers. They don't need trick plays. They just need to get the ball into their hands of their speedsters. Deontay Gray takes a routine catch, makes a guy miss, and then is just off to the races. Coach Sonny Cumbie said, this guy's our Jakeem Grant. Doing it all today for TCU.
So Gray with his second touchdown. Oberkrom's extra point is good. Well, they ran a flea flicker and it was incomplete. Then they threw a hitch. Trevone Boykin said, go ahead, take it the distance. Give me my 5th touchdown. Back to Fort Worth in 30 seconds. Davis Webb going off on crutches just a moment ago after leaving the game on his last offensive play, and Patrick Mahomes will get set to come in at quarterback. Fox College football is presented by Geico back here in Fort Worth, where TCU has exploded after a bit of a rocky start. Webb leaving the game. Hate to see that for Texas Tech.
Well, could anything else go wrong for Texas Tech today? I mean, this game has been, it's been a very good game, a very clean game played by TCU. But gosh, Texas Tech has shot themselves in the foot and been the victim of some injuries today that have really compounded things.
Well, they put Bustin in a spot to take a fair catch after a linebacker failed in that spot. Check in on some injuries with Chris Butt.
Well, let's start first with Texas Tech. Davis Webb has gone to the locker room, as you guys just saw. He's going to have x-rays done on that left foot ankle area. I'll get you an update on that as soon as I can. Also, Josh Doctson for TCU already in the locker room. He was dealing with a right ankle injury. No word on TCU on the severity of it. As soon as I get updates on both players, I'll have them for you.
Thank you, Chris. In the meantime, Patrick Mahomes, true freshman from White House, Texas, into the game to replace Webb. Third game that he's seen time in this year. They'll bring pressure. And drill the draw. Dawson pile driving Washington.
Joe, Paul Dawson, a former high school wide receiver, leads the team in tackles for loss. He's second in sacks, and this is why. He just has football instincts, and when you combine the athleticism of a high school wide receiver with a little bit of size and some experience on defense, you got a pretty dangerous player.
Mahomes took the snap, darted straight forward. He got a few yards. He's one of the top 10 tacklers in the country, Paul Dawson is. You mentioned he was a high school wide receiver. He didn't even play defense in high school. Went to JUCO. They moved him to linebacker, played 1 year of the position before coming to TCU, when he's turned into one of the top linebackers in this conference. They're down at 11. Mahomes' first throw is a duck. Dawson covering Marquez, and Texas Tech will punt. You know, as a testament to how much Texas Tech has shot itself in the foot, they're down 34 and are now punting for the second time. That's it. It's Taylor Samink, who had a good one his first time. A good one here. Eccles Looper with a fair catch on a punt of 52 yards. Well, tonight it's a pivotal game for the World Series in San Francisco. Jason Vargas will take the ball for the Royals, trying to get their 7th win in a row on the road in the postseason. Ryan Vogelsong scheduled to get it for the Giants. Remember, he gave up 4 runs in his last postseason start against the Cardinals. 7:30 Eastern. Coverage starts right here on Fox. and on Fox Sports Go. There's a TCU connection. Brandon Finnegan retired both batters that he faced last night, and in doing so became the first player in history of the sport to pitch in both the College World Series and the World Series in the same year. You saw that KC hat in the middle there. It's going to be enshrined in Cooperstown. Boykin feeling the pressure and taking off. Yeah, I think Gary Patterson would love to see him slide. Second down.
Well, right, especially after the injury to his wrist a couple weeks ago. But right there is a great example of the maturation of Trevone Boykin. When pressure came from the outside, he kept his eyes down the field and saw a hole right up the middle. In the past, he bails out, tries to break contain out of the pocket.
Now hits Ty Slanina. Easy touchdown. Well, you want to talk about the eye test. TCU passing it with flying colors at the expense of Texas Tech.
Joe, from what I've seen today, if TCU wins the rest of their football game, there is no reason why this team should not be in the Final Four, the college football playoffs at the end of the year. This is a fantastic football team led by a great defensive coach in Gary Patterson, an offense that is much improved behind Trevone Boykin, who's established himself as one of the best players in college football. These guys do it all.
Averaging 20 points a game more than they did during the 4-8 season last year. 61-20. Take a break and be back to Fort Worth in 30 seconds. Well, Gary Patterson hired Doug Meacham and Sonny Cumbie to revamp this offense in the offseason. And how about this recent stretch that they're on? 4 consecutive weeks, they've set a program record for points scored against each respective team.
Well, and there's your biggest reason right there, number 2. Trevone Boykin has finally had the time to devote himself to being a quarterback, and boy, is it paying off.
61-20 lead for TCU. Cliff Kingsbury, who started his head coaching career flying colors last year. Remember, Texas Tech got off to a 7-0 start, then lost 5 in a row before winning the Holiday Bowl, and he was having about as much fun as Doug Meacham is having right now during that 7-0 start, but it's been downhill since. Meacham, not usually that carefree and showing that much personality. Low snap picked up by Mahomes, and Washington cut down by Dawson after 3 or 4. Let's go back to that discussion about TCU and the playoff picture and whether or not what Gary Patterson is doing here, scoring 61 points, is okay. I know you said you think that if they run the table, they get in. But can you blame Patterson for not wanting to take the chance, wanting to do everything he can to make sure that they're noticed?
No, not at all, especially considering the position they were in to start the season. The teams that you're talking about in the Big 12 were Oklahoma and Baylor. Now, after beating Oklahoma and losing a close one to Baylor, TCU has put themselves in a position to win this Big 12 after people thought they had no business being here.
Sam Carter drills Bradley Marquez, who again suffered bruised ribs last week.
Well, I want to go back to the schedule that TCU is playing. They beat Oklahoma when they were number 4 in the country. They lost a close one to Baylor when they were number 5. They beat a ranked Oklahoma State team last week who was number 15 at the time they played them. West Virginia was number 20 in the country. Kansas State is coming up at number 11. If they run this schedule, this is as good as any schedule in the country, including those teams in the SEC West.
Play clock winding down, and I'll take a timeout.
Timeout, Texas Tech.
TCU also handled Minnesota here. Now, Minnesota suffered its second loss of the season today to Illinois, so that win doesn't look quite as good. But plenty of opportunities still left.
5 ranked teams in 6 weeks. And not just ranked teams. Oklahoma and Baylor were considered by many, and Baylor still by some, to be one of the top 10 teams in the country. I mean, don't forget, 3 weeks ago, people were talking about Oklahoma as the best team in college football. Then TCU goes and knocks them off. Plays a classic game against Baylor the following week, comes back with a big win against Oklahoma State. What Gary Patterson is doing here at TCU is building a resume for the end of this season, and frankly, maybe for this week when the first votes come out for the college football playoffs.
What's happened to Oklahoma?
Is it the top 10 jinx?
I mean, I don't know.
Every time Oklahoma starts in the top 10,
yeah,
they seem to end up the season with a couple losses. When they're looked at as kind of an outsider, those are the years that they come up big.
They still got to play Baylor November 8th. 3rd down and 1. Only 4 in the box for TCU. Mahomes a good runner and ran into that box, which was light, but TCU fighting right through those blocks. Chucky Hunter drops him at the line of scrimmage. 4th down. Oh, no, they gave him enough. They did convert. Needed only a yard and fell forward to get it. Mahomes throws on the move and caught by DJ Polite-Bray with the pressure from Josh Carraway on Patrick Mahomes.
Well, Joe, Patrick Mahomes moved right into the pressure of Josh Carraway, sliding to his right, takes a shot as he delivers the ball. Would you call that a welcome to the Big 12?
And the pass was rolled incomplete. So 2nd and 10. Kenny Williams, nice spin move. Strong running across the 45. It's an interesting case, Kenny Williams, as their leading rusher last year, but moved the defense to start this season as the starting Raider, safety, linebacker hybrid. Got beat out in that spot, has moved back to offense full time now. There's Mahomes for another 1st down to the 42. One of the best athletes on the team, though, in Williams, has just kind of gotten lost in the shuffle back and forth between offense and defense.
Well, yeah, not just their leading rusher last year, but a guy who's got over 1,400 yards and 15 touchdowns in his career, also has 300 yards receiving. I mean, this guy is just an athlete that they can't find a spot for him.
Had the first touchdown today on the 4th play, 52-yard reception out of the backfield. Leaves the game for this 1st down play. DeAndre Washington back in. And into the teeth of that defense, bounce into the outside. Derek Kindred with the tackle after 7 yards. Did Texas Tech get away from the run too early today?
Looking back on it, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I looked at the stats at halftime and was surprised to see that Washington only had 8 carries, especially considering the way he had run the ball the last couple weeks, carrying the ball 26, 27 times a game.
Play action for Mahomes, and Marquez comes free. Tackled by Mallet down to the 20. Now, that being said, they were having success throwing it.
Yeah, but Texas Tech always has success throwing it. And what really has helped them the last couple weeks is the balance, is the ability to sustain drives and keep their defense off the field. This is a defense that is thin. They do not have much depth. And we saw today, we saw against West Virginia a couple weeks ago, when they have to play too much, eventually they break.
That defense is on the field a ton. Has been on the field a ton. I mean, we still got a quarter, 4 minutes. Still got 20 minutes to play in this game. The Texas Tech defense has been on the field for 62 plays. Second down, they motion Quentin White out. Mahomes throwing one to the sideline for his fellow freshman Ian Sadler, who sets up 1st down and goal.
Joe, nice job by the freshman Patrick Mahomes sitting in there and throwing a nice ball to the outside of the field. You'll see Sadler here at the slot position, runs what's called an out route to the sideline. What I like about the ball is it's high into the outside and doesn't allow the defender to make a play on it.
Mahomes pulls it and gets popped. Anthony Tejada and Chris Hackett combined. 2nd and goal.
Joe, this is a great opportunity for Patrick Mahomes to get some game experience. Learn how to make decisions. Learn how quickly things go, because doing it in practice is different than doing it in a game against a Gary Patterson defense. Great opportunity to learn and put something in the bank.
Throws the fade for Davis, nowhere close. Third down. Mahomes will play baseball for the Red Raiders as well. Tim Tadlock taking Texas Tech to the College World Series last year, first time in program history. Mahomes was a Tigers draft pick. His dad played in the bigs. Talented athlete, good pedigree. Play clock inside of 10. On 3rd and goal for Texas Tech. Mahomes to throw. Scrambling, keeping his eyes in the end zone, and will flip one in for Cantrell. It's Cantrell's first touchdown of the season, and you see what Mahomes brings to the table.
Yeah, his ability to escape, his ability to create outside the pocket. To a lesser extent, it's what Trevone Boykin has been able to do this season. But watch, once he gets outside, what he essentially does is run an option play, forces the defender to commit. Creates a one-on-one situation where you either take the receiver or you take me. Defender chose to take the quarterback. He dumped it over the top. Nice read.
Next point is good. 61-27 now as the freshman Mahomes orchestrates the touchdown drive. His second touchdown throw is the first touchdown catch of the season for Dylan Cantrell. Patrick Mahomes was the Texas High School Player of the Year last year at 50 passing touchdowns, 4,600 yards. Let's check in with Chris Budden.
Joe, the injuries continue to pile up for Texas Tech. Jakeem Grant is on the trainer's table with ice on his left ankle. He is questionable to come back. I'm told this is the same ankle that he injured against Kansas last week. One other note, Davis Webb will not be coming back to this ballgame.
Okay, Chris, and the look on Jakeem Grant's face just about says it all for this season for Texas Tech.
Yeah, he may technically be questionable to come back, but I'm going to go ahead and say he's not making his way back to this ballgame.
Colby Listenby, who can really fly, will bring it out. The track star. Cut down to the 25. His quarterback, Trevone Boykin, with another big day. 6 touchdowns for Boykin, and now in the season, 20 of them through the air to just 3 picks.
The difference between last year and this year is Trevone Boykin is using his legs in the right situations. He's keeping his eyes down the field. He's stepping up in the pocket. When the pocket collapses, then he slides outside and keeps his eyes down the field, looking to throw the ball as opposed to looking to run it. When you have to try and tackle Trevone Boykin in the open field, you have to make a decision. Are you going to come up out of coverage and tackle him, or are you going to stay back and cover your wide receivers? You can't win with this guy.
Now another freshman, Travis Johnson, strong running. Wow, up to midfield. Those 6 touchdowns, by the way, for Boykin. You might have saw on the screen a moment ago. His school record. Remember guy Andy Dalton played quarterback here at TCU.
He's doing okay.
Doing all right. More ways than one. New contract before the year. From midfield, back to Johnson, who hits the hole hard. Travis Johnson up to the 22 on a run of 28 yards. And it doesn't matter who they're giving the ball to right now, they're getting chunks.
Well, yeah, you saw TCU try and run a flea flicker earlier that didn't work. Just stick to the basics, because the hitches and the power off tackle, those are the ones that are getting you the big plays. TCU is just an explosive football team. You know what? You watch them on film, and there's nobody that jumps out at you, maybe with the exception of Trevone Boykin, that you say, wow, that guy's an All-American. But what does jump out is they have good player after good player after good player after good player, and you put them all together, and you got yourself a heck of a football team.
Throws a slant here on the money to Emmanuel Porter, true freshman from Dallas, who chose TCU over LSU and Texas. Has another first down and another completion from Trevone Boykin, who now has his 5th career 300-yard passing game, which already ties his school record. Can you believe Andy Dalton only had 5 300-yard games during his career?
That doesn't seem like enough.
Yeah.
With the success that they had while he was here.
On a Rose Bowl. in 2010, beating Wisconsin. From the 12, Boykin looking for his 7th touchdown throw of the day, and he's got it with Porter. It's his first career touchdown.
Joe, how about this? A great example of learning as the game goes on. Trevone Boykin had received pressure on 3rd down all day. He missed those hot routes. He missed those fades earlier in the ball game, but he learned from the mistakes. He learned where the ball should go, when it should go, how it should be delivered, and he throws a strike for a touchdown against pressure. Great job of learning as the game goes on.
7 touchdown passes for the redshirt junior from West Mesquite High School. This one goes to Emmanuel Porter, the true freshman, with his first career score. Seven touchdowns. Trevone Boykin, 4th time in an FBS game this season that a quarterback has thrown for 7 scores. First time in a conference not named the Pac-12.
I was going to say, didn't Cody Kessler do it last week?
Uh-huh. Yeah, 2 of the 3 times have been against Colorado. 1 of the 3 times was by Colorado. Checking with Greg Wolf for a game break.
All right, next on Fox, it's Game 4 of the World Series as Brandon Crawford and the Giants try and even the series to 2 games apiece. Or will the Royals move within a game of their first World Series title in 29 years? Coverage begins next on Fox. Joey should be good.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Greg. And that's Matt Carpenter right there in that suite. The St. Louis Cardinals star who played his college baseball here at TCU and lives not too far from campus here in the offseason. Andre Washington gets a couple of yards on first down. Paul Dawson with the tackle. TCU, actually both these schools went to the College World Series this year. First trip for Texas Tech. It was the 2nd all-time for TCU. Mahomes, who's played a little baseball himself, on 2nd down, hands to Washington again, who gets tackled by Dawson again. Good to see Davis Webb back on the sideline, although on crutches. I've been told that it's an ankle injury. That's the extent of what we know at this point. Here's Mahomes, feeling the pressure and stepping out, taking a shot downfield. Sam Carter picks him off. 11th career interception for Carter. And flags flying all over the place on the far side of the field. So I think somebody's going to get thrown out of the game. I saw in the middle of that scrum somebody throw a punch to a TCU player. We'll sort this all out. And again, it was in the middle of a mess, but clearly saw a hand thrown towards the TCU helmet.
Well, Joe, just a young mistake. A young quarterback trying to make a play down the field. Throws it behind his receiver. Ooh.
So that might be what your initial flag is for.
There's your initial flag. Absolutely. Now see if there's retaliation.
There was some kind of retaliation. This Big 12 officiating crew trying to sort through what was a mess on that far sideline. Whole thing egged on by that TCU student section right behind him.
There were 3 dead ball fouls on the play. Personal foul, number 1, TCU.
That's for the block.
Personal foul number 3, Texas Tech. Both of those resulted in a punch. Both players are disqualified from the game.
Yeah, so there were 2 punches. I saw the one punch that DJ Polite-Bray threw. Hackett apparently threw one as well, and they'll both get tossed.
Well, you saw Hackett shaking his head there. Okay, here's Gaines right here.
DJ Polite-Bray, double number.
Okay, headbutt.
I didn't see a punch from Hackett.
By Hackett either.
No.
I mean, Hackett was the one who had the initial penalty, the block on Marquez there as Sam Carter was going out of bounds. But he's saying to his coaching staff right there, I didn't throw a punch. And frankly, I didn't see it on video either.
This game well in hand, but you hate to see that for a kid who deserved the personal foul, no doubt, but didn't throw a punch and shouldn't be thrown out. So Hackett and Polite-Bray both thrown out of the game here with 8 seconds remaining in the third quarter. And they're explaining everything to Gary Patterson.
And Joe, I believe depending on how this penalty is interpreted, it could affect his ability to play in the first half of the next game. If they call it fighting, then he is out for the first half of the next game as well. That's going to be the key difference, right? This
is something, you know, the Big 12 is going to look at more closely as the week goes on and decide what the proper action is moving forward. Chris Hackett saying film doesn't lie. You'll see. But in the meantime, that does him no good. Well, new quarterback in the game, Matt Jokel, Texas A&M transfer, who a lot of folks thought would win the job coming into the year, replacing Trevone Boykin. Travoris Johnson stopped at the line of scrimmage to bring this third quarter to a close. We'll talk more about Jokel to begin the fourth, but that third was all about Trevone Boykin and TCU, number 10, making a case to move up in the standings and to be a part of the college football playoff discussion. Football is presented by Geico. All TCU today. It's 68-27 as we start the fourth quarter. Trevone Boykin out of the game after 7 touchdowns, helping TCU get to within 1 point of a school record. You figure they'll find a way to set that record. Jawan Story unable to pull it in, working against Nigel Bethel on a pass thrown by Matt Jokel, Texas A&M transfer. The staff has raved about the way that this guy has helped Trevone Boykin grow as a quarterback and as a leader.
Well, I loved what Coach Sonny Cumbie said about his presence in the meeting room. You know, he immediately brought maturity. He immediately brought experience, a presence of mind, an ear to pick, a little experience to glean from situations. He's seen it all.
Jokel throws the slant and has the 5'7", 150-pound freshman Desmond White. His first catch of the day. Austin Stewart makes the tackle, and 4th down and a yard. So the punt team comes out. Cameron Batson back to receive it from Ethan Perry. I think this game really turned on a couple of special teams plays back in that first half. One of them, the fake punt pass play that was called a pass interference. And let TCU hold on to the ball. They capitalize the next play with a touchdown and have run away with it. On their way to getting to 6-1. College football is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. By Allstate, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? and by Lowe's. Lowe's never stop improving. In the fourth quarter, 68-27. TCU a point short of a school record. 2 points short of becoming the 8th team to hit 70 in an FBS game this year. Here's Justin Stockton, the freshman, running across the 10 and tackled from behind by Davion Pearson. Stockton, a highly touted recruit, more than 6,000 yards in his high school career. Averaging more than 9 yards per carry this year. Has only carried it now 33 times on the season. DeAndre Washington getting the bulk of the load in the running game. 2 freshmen in the backfield right now with Mahomes in the game for the injured Davis Webb. Mahomes takes his eyes down and then goes down. Dawson got him. 3rd down. Dawson is starting to draw a ton of NFL interest. Here in his senior season, the Dallas Skyline High product. He's only been playing linebacker for a few seasons. On 3rd and 10, Mahomes to throw. Under pressure, will spike the screen to the feet of Quentin White. And Texas Tech will punt. Josh Carraway with the pressure. Some good reps here for Patrick Mahomes to learn against one of the conference's top defenses.
Well, yeah, if you're going to pick a team to learn against, it's going to be Gary Patterson's defense. I mean, he does some pretty, I won't call them outlandish things, but he and Coach Todd Graham at Arizona State, very similar in their defensive philosophies. A lot of things put on the defensive plate, and he expects his players to learn how to execute it correctly.
That punt drops and is down at the 48-yard line. Punt of 37 yards. Oh, Texas meets barbecue, right? We'll be back here to Fort Worth after this. Back here in Fort Worth, pictures of today's blowout win for TCU as we look at our Domino's stat tracker. School record for Trevone Boykin with 7 passing touchdowns. Aaron Green quietly in that first half had his first career 100-yard rushing game on just 6 carries. And Deontay Gray, a couple of touchdowns, 165 receiving. Matt Jokel back out there at quarterback. Second possession for him, replacing Boykin. And here's Travorce Johnson, the freshman tailback. Back to the line of scrimmage, tackled by V.J. Fehoko. Jokel under pressure. Underneath it's Story. The Florida transfer accelerates inside the 35 after his second catch. To pick up the 15. Well, folks have started to talk Heisman when they've talked Trevone Boykin's name. I think if anybody had any questions about whether or not he belongs in that discussion, those questions were answered today. Here's Johnson inside the 15.
Well, yeah, Trevone Boykin has, if nothing else, thrust his name into the discussion. I think it was a 3-man race coming into today. Dak Prescott, Marcus Mariota, Melvin Gordon, running back from Wisconsin. But 7 touchdowns. I mean, there were times today, I mean, if we're going to look critically, when Trevone Boykin wasn't at his best against the pressure early on that Texas Tech brought, he missed a couple plays. But what I loved is that he learned from it, and he corrected those mistakes and threw touchdowns because of it later in the ballgame. I think Trevone Boykin is in the discussion. I think Amir Abdullah.
Now Jokel off of the pull read down to the 6.
Amir Abdullah, running back from Nebraska. Remember the 7-1 Nebraska Cornhuskers only lost to Michigan State. For the 4th time this season, Amir Abdullah goes over 200 yards. sets a new Nebraska school record for total yards today.
Matt Jokel banged up on that run. They bring the third quarterback into the game, Zach Allen, freshman who handles the holding duties. He's from Temple, Texas. Tech ready to greet him with pressure. He pulls it and gets the first down.
Joe, to finish off the Heisman discussion, I think that, and this isn't going to be groundbreaking by me saying it, whoever wins down at the stretch is going to walk away with this hardware, because so often it's given to the players that have success, have team success, the individual success combined with winning football games. So if TCU wins the Big 12, don't be surprised to see Trevone Boykin. If Oregon wins the Pac-12, don't be surprised to see Marcus Mariota. Same with Mississippi State and Dak Prescott, especially coming out of that SEC West.
Option play. Allen will flip it off to Johnson with a cut and a touchdown. And a school record. 74 points for the Horned Frogs. Well, 10 years ago, Sonny Cumbie, who's one of the offensive coordinators directing this show for TCU, scored 70 against TCU and Gary Patterson while he was the quarterback for Texas Tech. And now as one of the co-offensive coordinators, he's helped this offense set a new high for program history. This extra point from Oberkrom sets that mark at 75. TCU making a lot of people around the country take a second look. What did they do? How many did they score? Fox College Football is presented by Geico. TCU with a school record 75 points today. Boykin with a school record 7 touchdown passes. Texas Tech has never given up this many points in a game. There are the co-offensive coordinators, Doug Meacham, Sonny Cumbie. That's our Scott Trade game summary. Those two guys orchestrating the best offensive day in program history and orchestrating one of the best offensive seasons in program history.
Why are they on the sideline at the same time?
Oh, Sonny Cumbie coming down from the booth.
You think he's got a big enough lead where he doesn't have to call plays up there anymore?
I think he's comfy.
Okay.
Yep. Well, tomorrow it's breakfast and football, and a history-making broadcast as Joey Harrington's Lions and the Falcons kick off live from London at 9 a.m. Eastern. Before the game, Fox News Sunday has an exclusive interview with Chris Christie at a special start time of 8 a.m. Live NFL action on Fox early tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Should have said Joey Harrington's Lions and Falcons.
That's what I thought you were going for. Why stop there, right?
Right, yeah. We could keep going.
Dolphins, Saints. They're not Drew Brees' Saints, right?
No.
You always got to go with the backup quarterbacks. Yeah.
When I think Saints, I think Joey Harrington. I don't know about you. Billy Cantrell, the intended receiver.
I held a mean clipboard, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Long day for Cliff Kingsbury. Long season for Cliff Kingsbury, who signed a contract right before the season started for a total of $23 million that has him extended through 2020. When he took over the program prior to last season, he had a total of 5 years of coaching experience, period. Not head coaching experience. Didn't have any of that. 5 years as a coach, period, when he took over, and then 1 year later signed that extension through 2020.
It was an aggressive move by Texas Tech, which, frankly, I don't necessarily disagree with. I mean, let's look at this in the context of things. Yes, they're getting beat bad today. They have made a lot of mistakes this season that are very easily correctable. He started 7-0 last year. He has the knowledge. He has the experience, playing experience, that is, the Texas Tech experience. You know, the guy's a legend in Lubbock. He can recruit to that city. He can recruit to that program because he has a personal vested interest. And those are the types of coaches that you want to lead your program. I don't fault Texas Tech at all for extending him, for extending the contract and saying, you know what, Cliff's going to be the guy for our future. I like the decision.
He's made Texas Tech cool.
Yeah. Texas Tech and Ray-Bans.
I think those were already cool.
Oh, gotcha.
Not to say Tech and Lubbock wasn't either. Sonny Cumbie was telling us the other day his family, their big days when he was growing up was taking a trip from Snyder, Texas to Lubbock to go to the mall. That was a big day for the Cumbie family when he was growing up. Big day today for TCU. Maybe establishing themselves as the team to beat in the Big 12. Fox College Football is sponsored by DirecTV. Call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. If you call yourself a Texan, you got to get Boots, right? 75 points for TCU today. Knocking on the door of the highest total in an FBS game this season. 77 was scored up the road in Denton by North Texas in a game against Nicholls State earlier this year. Enjoyed talking with Gary Patterson yesterday. Conversationalist. Is that a word?
It is now.
Yeah. That guy can drive a conversation. And that man loves TCU and TCU football.
Well, why wouldn't he?
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's personally invested in what's going on here with this football program, and he loves it. I mean, what young man wouldn't want to come play for a coach that really takes pride in what he does? Not just coaching a team, but really being part of this community, being part of this university.
He's been here as the head coach for 14 years after a few years as the D coordinator. Took him from Conference USA to Mountain West to the Big 12, and now in the third year competing for the title. One of the great defensive minds in college football. He said that scheming defense is his way of scratching his creative itch. It used to be writing music, playing guitar in a band. Flag comes in. And false start.
False start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Played in a band called Walk On Easy. Group of him and his friends got it from a horse, racehorse. Turned it into a band. You're a music guy yourself, right? You guys both play by ear.
Yeah, I never played in a band like that, though.
No.
No. Takes some guts.
He said they played at everything. Back home in Kansas, where he's from, pretty much had the monopoly on the weddings in the area.
It's a big industry, I've heard.
Hicks gets a few. We're talking about his time here at TCU. His first full season was 2001. They spent 4 years in Conference USA. They moved into the Mountain West in 2005. They were in the Mountain West when they won the Rose Bowl in 2010, beating Wisconsin. Now in their third season of the Big 12, and after going 11-14 over those first two seasons, ready to move to 6-1. After they were picked to finish near the bottom of the conference following that 4-8 season last year.
And Joe, frankly, they're back where they deserve. They're back where they need to be. After the breakup of the Southwest Conference, TCU was kind of a no man's land there for a while. You know, bounced around from conference to conference, and they need to be here in the Big 12. They need to be playing the schools like Texas and Texas Tech and Baylor, Oklahoma State. That's their home. That's where they belong. It's good to see them back here and having success.
Gary Patterson was saying he'd like to see the Baylor-TCU game moved to the end of the season. He thinks that's one of the real emerging rivalries in the Big 12. Certainly looked like it with that classic down in Waco a couple of weeks ago. Hicks goes to midfield. Well, the moment here, let's check into the studio with Greg Wolf.
All right, thanks. Next on Fox, McCovey Cove is packed in anticipation. It's Game 4 from AT&T Park in San Francisco. Can the Giants even the series, or will Ned Yost and the Royals take a commanding 3-1 lead? Coverage begins from San Francisco immediately after the game. Joey, back to you.
Greg, I promise that will be closer than this one. More than half of the games in the Major League Baseball postseason have been decided by one run, including Game 3 last night. Hicks moves the chains again inside the 45. Rolling some extra players in there, chance to get time. And into the game at quarterback, Graham Kohlhausen. The fourth quarterback that's checked in. Can he lead them to the 80-point mark? Nice shot. And complete to the outside, with Preston Miller making his first catch. TCU with a bit of a reprieve here after 3 top 15 opponents. Right back into the grinder at number 23 West Virginia next week, and then a big one against Kansas State that could decide the Big 12.
Who would have thought that the Kansas State TCU game could possibly decide who goes to the college football playoff at the end of the year? Everybody would have thought Oklahoma Baylor, who happened to play on that same day.
Right?
Exactly.
Second down. DeVoris Johnson gets a block from Eccles Looper. Turns the corner inside the 30. So first down for TCU. Our crew is led by the producer-director combo of Eric Billigmeyer and Jeremy Green. Associate Director is Brian Biederman. Broadcast Associate is Ben Toder. Leading our wonderful crew of men and women here in Fort Worth today. Bring Kohlhausen in the game for the first time with an injured player, Derek Dixon. Take a look at him. Fox Sports Supports, proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com. Game 4 of the World Series follows us tonight, and over on Fox Sports 1, more college football action this evening. Utah and USC. The Trojans heading into Salt Lake City, and the Muss, one of the best student sections in college football, there at Rice-Eccles Stadium, which can be a really, really hard place to play. Is that one of the top 3 or 4 most underrated environments in college football, or what?
Especially this year.
Ooh.
Utah is quietly putting together a season that, you know, if we're talking college football playoffs, a 1-loss Utah team with a game against USC today.
Right.
A game with Oregon in a couple weeks.
How about Arizona State next week?
Arizona State next week.
You and I will be there.
Again, another tough schedule, but if you get through it, Utah could be there at the end.
Which would, of course, have to include a win in the Pac-12 championship game, which you can watch on Fox on December 5th. Johnson runs into a wall. So Texas Tech is going to fall to 3-5 for the first time in 21 years. Started the '93 season 1-5 and then won 5 in a row. Made a bowl game that year. And to make a bowl game this season, they'll need 3 wins out of those 4.
Well, I mean, you obviously have to say that they got a shot against Texas and Iowa State, right?
Right, and they would have to do that,
right,
to get a bowl game.
But that means they're going to have to knock off, or coming into today, they would have had to knock off one of either TCU, Oklahoma, or Baylor, which the way they played today, I wouldn't necessarily be betting on as the season went on.
Run that play clock down, hand it to Hicks. Well, how about our Fox Sports 1 play of the game? Touchdown number 7 of 7 for Trevone Boykin today. It's the first career touchdown for Emmanuel Porter. What a day for Trevone Boykin. That was the one, brought to you by Fox Sports Live. Every score, every highlight, every night, only on Fox Sports 1.
Joe, you know what I loved about that pass? Is it really was the culmination of learning what Texas Tech was doing to him throughout the game. And on that last touchdown, he put it all together, threw the touchdown pass, capitalized, just like TCU capitalizes there.
And they've got 81 points, the most in an FBS game this season. 25-yard touchdown run for Trevone Johnson. A team that a season ago averaged only 25 points per game. They've brought in Doug Meacham. They've brought in Sonny Cumbie.
It looks like they brought in LaDainian Tomlinson and Andy Dalton and frankly anybody else who played here in the past.
And Gary Patterson, by his own words, swallowing his ego some, bringing in a wide open offense, which, let's face it, is not the best thing for a defense. And his team has now put up 82 points. It's the most in an FBS game in 2 years. Joey Harrington, Chris Budden, the rest of our crew back here in Fort Worth. Closing minutes. Closing seconds now. That clock can't run out fast enough for Texas Tech. And for those of you ready to watch Game 4 of the World Series, Royals and Giants from out in San Francisco. Kevin Burkhardt and the guys will have the pregame show for you. Joe, Harold, and Tom with the call of Game 4. Chance here for Ryan DiNucci to kick one off. Everybody getting involved. Joey, did you bring your pads? I think they're out of quarterbacks.
I hung those up a long time ago, Joe.
Minute 16 left. And it's Patrick Mahomes again. There have been people with Davis Webb struggling how he has over the first 2 months of this season, calling for Patrick Mahomes to move into the starting job. And while Mahomes is a talented guy, it's going to have a good future. That's probably not totally fair to Davis Webb.
No, I completely agree with that. I mean, this is a culmination of a lot of people making mistakes. I mean, yes, Davis Webb has thrown quite a few interceptions this year. However, that stat line never tells the whole story, especially today. Mistakes in the kicking game, penalties. The penalties put you behind the chains. As a quarterback, you feel like you have to press and get it all back, you know, especially as a young quarterback. So I would tend to look at the good things that Davis Webb has done, like being fourth in the country in touchdown passes, and say, all right, now you've got 2 years under your belt. You got a great head coach who's been there and done that. It's time to learn from those mistakes and start correcting them.
Meanwhile, Gary Patterson's team will move to 6-1. No doubt be in the discussion for the college football playoff. They can take care of business down the stretch. We'll have as good a case as any one-loss team to get into the inaugural playoff. And boy, what a scene that would be. Not too far from here, about a 20-mile drive to Jerry's World. 785 yards, a school record. 83 points, or 82 points allowed by Texas Tech. On the other side of this break, it is Game 4 of the World Series. That does it from Fort Worth.